was reborn as the weakest race, a goblin, but this breed has an incredible passive. Can be strengthened by mating. If you were not confused, becomes more powerful by having babies, and can do so with any human species, goblins and elves. Yes, boy. But don't get your hopes up. If you reoffend on an Isekai, you will not have such a power, and you better hope not to relapse with Titans you. And it's not that your life is sweet as Ani. That's the only reason why our protagonist has already been captured, brutally tortured, more crushed than the Patriots in the last Super Bowl, to the point of breaking it. Came to hate the human race, although he was one in his past life. But let's go back to the beginning, so that you can see the taste of this revenge. After the boss died, the goblins fought, fighting their gnosis. Is that correct? Wanted to be the new boss, and have the dams that the boss left behind. Could smell mating in the air. But there was a goblin, different, that was suddenly called, hear something, and run to see what happens. A group of goblins attacked the girl. You know exactly what was going to happen. Seeing the different goblin were furious and attacked, but he knocked down one of his brothers easily. This goblin had a gun, and that's why the others fled in panic. Girl thanks goblin for saving her again. The problem is that it was not always a goblin. It was a human named Linten, but was run over by Trakon. It's always you, isn't it? Trakon is now a goblin. And has it. Although it appears not to have been initialized 100%. The girl also taught him about this world. The gods created him and created heroes. Humans have powers, but reincarnated in the weakest spirit is weak among goblins because of his statistics. But let's not forget that it can be strengthened by reproducing. And this one already seems to have a full belly. Naturally, no female goblins need to reproduce with other species. The problem is that he was human, and that seems wrong. The girl says it's different, does not want to live with goblins, then talks about a group of boys who arrive and that will leave you living in the village if she explains. But suddenly he hears goblins approaching. He yells at the curvy girl to run with him. A goblin appears, saying that humans arrived and that he wanted to, mating for strength. Even at the end of his life, the instinct of the beast is to find a hole. With a stroke, sent his brother to mate in hell. It seems that humans have arrived. The girl says happy, that should be, and even cries with joy. Our goblin, although weak, it has a bit of a belly, isn't it? Suddenly stops. A man used an ability in front of him and eliminated several brothers at the same time. That guy was very strong, was angry because the young people ripped his new cape. But the problem was his condition was too high. Is really human. The girl screams that they are there, but our little belly keeps thinking. Suddenly realizes that something is wrong. The hero's sword was going to break. The girl is saved and falls into a very suggestive pose. At the beginning, Populi thought he could have been wrong because of the smile, but emanates an aura that makes it seem like it was not so. The girl says her name is Kalia, and he says he knows it. But she says she was already corrupted by the kobolds, and could be pregnant with them. She cries and says she was not reprimanded thanks to him. He says this by pointing to Populi, saying that he saved her, but the boy doesn't care. Populi runs the push, telling him to run while grabbing the cane. Will probably die from this blow. But the blow was not enough. Thanks to a golden light, woman orders killer to stop. Helia asks the saint to save her strongly. The saint asks if the goblin understands what he is saying. Was his chance to escape. Says he does realize that he is human and not of this world. Wants the blessing of the saint. Lutter is impressed. The saint says it's a gift. The blonde woman asks if he didn't attack her. Kalia confirms. Decide to take the goblin for analysis. The saint asks if she accepts. Says yes. With a click it removes the barrier. While walking, orders Lauder to do so. The boy was going to think. But she interrupts him. Kalia is stem. The saint with big melons says he must pay when they return. Late gives a speech in the square, talking about eliminating goblins. The entire population gives him a standing ovation for revenge, saying that the goblins killed Kalia. The saint says that paradise will always protect devotees, and thus control the masses. The more prayers, the stronger the shield. This is how they control it. I barely turned the pedal around, and the chain went out. Someone calls Saint Drum. She looks at him with care. Our universe is completely shattered, shouts furiously. Insults her with all his might. She only praises him for his vitality, for remaining alive, but he says he's going to test the effects of the reflections in the goblin that infuriates him. Shouts that he cheated on them all and killed Kalia. The saint stabs him. Kalia died because she was seduced by a goblin and ended up in their favor. That is treason to humanity. For Eivelia, goblins are just parasites. Must accept that he uses his body for experiments. Humans are going to die. It was his mistake to reincarnate with a human heart, and merciful. Was tortured every day until he died. If I had another chance, I would not trust humans. Would take revenge on all of them. Suddenly finds himself in another place. The system warns, tells him he is the dumb best and offers to restart. At least the system is us. understands that your system must die in order to activate. Offer to return, then go back in time with your current memories. Is an opportunity for revenge with his own hands. It's going to take revenge on Lauder and Eivelia, so he returned to the goblin's nest, with a small impulse. The system warns that if you press again, everything ends has the ability to simulate a decision, and can be used once a day, so activate it quickly. In the current scenario, the cave has been discovered by Lauder, and needs to escape death. The options are to warn the other goblins, abandon them or hide. Knows that even if he brings together the goblins, would not stand a chance, but to test choose the option that gives you the most points. Yet to test. Choose the option that gives you the most points in the system, but in the simulation they kill him. Choose points but get killed for overestimating. Earns 10 points, but I already knew I couldn't trust goblins, and now has points. Open the exchange window. There are several weapons at different prices. Can buy an elven knife. That gives it 10% speed and 15% strength, with 10 points. Our ex-Gordo asks about Kalia. The system warns that due to its rebirth, some details changed, and Kalia was not captured. Now he must only escape and in the cave. Guards say goblins are disgusting. Our goblin pinches his nose. He imitates a girl asking for help. Guards get excited about killing. Even if it is human in order of Yud. Sneaks in smiling, tells the person not to be afraid, but then receives a blow to the head. Revenge is just beginning. The wounded soldier begins to tremble with pain. The other guard approaches, asking why it takes, without realizing what has happened. Linten smiled, excited that the plan works. Our boy quickly throws himself at another guard with its super sharp dagger. I need the frozen guy without knowing what's going on. Linten punches the soldier in the face, and the man begins to collapse, driven by anger and agility. The boy jumps on him and gets to work. Just as Linten guessed, the dagger is incredibly sharp, makes a great cut to the soldier, and the guard collapses to the ground, thinking it's all over. The soldier asks if Linten can speak human language, then beg for mercy, begging the boy not to finish it. I love touching Linten's sympathy. The soldier takes a picture of his family, saying they are waiting for you at home. When he sees the boy doubting and realizes that Linten understands, the guard calls Ten intelligent and claims that he was only following orders of the sacred order. Try to buy confidence, promising gold, and young women, fresh and juicy, as he plans to grab his gun and attack, thinking that Linten got distracted. The guard throws himself like a stealthy rat, calling him a stupid beast, but the soldier does not get with speed. And its brutal cute dagger. Yan takes down the guard before he can catch up with him. The child begins his revenge. Our protagonist is determined to take advantage of his last opportunity. Sets his plan in motion and takes over the guard's clothes. Select the area in uniform. With the soldier's uniform in hand, Linten says she will soon find Lauder. Aprila, the captain, and the saint arrive on the scene, where the guards were defeated. Lauder wonders if goblins could have finished with those soldiers. Aprila thinks that a small mirror defeated 2 guards could be a mutant. The captain says it is true, and the news spreads through the people. The consequences could be catastrophic. Knocked down the guard, calling him a hero for losing to a single goblin, while Cold lights up with the idea of a tiny mutant killer, saying it will be fun, with a dark gaze, almost excited by the idea of a different goblin. The little saint says that if he gets caught, we'll have a lot of fun with him. Then we return to the forest where the boy escaped. Linten feels relieved, sees his plan working and escaped from the cave. While Ehang says he will treat his enemies in the manner of the goblins, using veracity to increase their stats. Its influence. With dark look, Lin says he will make everyone fear him. Whisper wonders if he gave it up, and the others did not give up. Then Linten sees someone hooded. I whisper wonders if he gave it up, and the others did not give up. Then Linten sees someone hooded, comes out from behind the under, attacks immediately without giving the intruder a chance. Opportunity to counterattack. The figure stumbles against a rock. 5. Linten stops in surprise at the sight that he is a goblin. Can't believe it, is stunned. When the elf speaks, she doesn't give up. Whoever she is, she was hiding something. Then something happens. Something hits it even harder. Lynx does not understand why this goblin has feminine features. Goblins are only males, so they reproduce with other species, frightening females. Linten cannot understand a female, asking not to hurt her, and says he only came to get water. Linten cannot understand a small toy, speaking in full sentences, check his condition, and see something that makes his blood freeze. If a male mates with a female of this same species. 5. Linten is surprised, realizing that if he joins her, could become a goblin god. Could be the perfect opportunity to become strong enough as to face their enemies. The girl tells Linten that her boss sent her to get water, and that if he comes back without her, will hit it freezes. Upon realizing that a goblin is talking to him and try to calm her down, Linten warns her that she is still crying, will attract Lauder and his crew. To a stunned question if he can talk like her. He says yes, and remember that the goblins normally cannot speak with grateful coherence. The girl tells him that she is nice, and that the little boys beat and insult her. Asks her if she wants to go with her to town, and Linten sees another opportunity to become stronger. Linten seeks another opportunity to grow, and asks him if there is a tribe of goblins nearby, but remains cautious, not knowing if the Lauder group is still searching for him. With revenge in mind and power as a goal, decides to go with her to the village of goblins. Tells him that he will go with her to the town of goblins, and admits that he has been looking for subordinates. Asks him to take him to his tribe, and soon the people come into view. When goblins notice someone inside, approaching them, they observe them from a distance with sensitivity. Then they start making fun of Linten's clothes. By human appearance, they call it a rare creature. Linten sees an opportunity to begin his revenge plan, decides to gain his confidence, says he is there to join, and asks that they continue to. To their leader, the goblins laugh. They say that the boss is not someone he can see as such, because he wants to. The girl yells at them, says Linten is not a bad person, and asks them to do nothing. In haste, a voice interrupts, asking why the tribe is gathered, making so much noise. Linten's eyes light up. The head of the goblins finally appears. The boss arrives furiously, demanding, "Know who is causing trouble in your tribe." Linten reviews boss statistics. Is surprised there is a high-level goblin here. The boss asks the girl if she brought the stranger. She says yes, because I had nowhere to go. Linten shows his dagger. Says he knows how to make weapons like that, if they let him join. The boss orders to stop. Intrigued, he says that Linten does not seem to be lying. The boss approaches, hungry for power, asks what type of weapon you can make. Linten says he can forge simple toy weapons, with mineral a little stronger in time. Says those daggers will allow them to defeat savages, even humans. Goblins get excited talking about having meat. No need to hide in the forest emotion. Talk about having meat, do not hide in the forest. They prefer fresh meat. The boss decides to give Linten a chance. Orders iron ore to be found for 3 days. If he fails, he will be killed. Then points to the girl. She also goes. If Linten does not comply, will die with him. The boss points to the girl, goes too. As Linten fails, she will die with him. After giving orders, the boss leaves. Linten hugs the girl, says the old man is cruel. Linten says he must make weapons to buy time and strengthen. With some goblins and her friend, Linten goes out to look for iron ore. The girl asks them to wait, is exhausted from walking all day. One of the creatures kicks her angrily and calls her ugly. A goblin kicks it. The ugly flame says that if it does not find her, it will kill it. The girl promises not to complain anymore. The others beat her. They call her lazy. Linten throws a stone and hits the kicking goblin. Linten defends his friend, tells them that he brought them to find ore, not to fight. Tells them that he has already explained what to look for and what they must obey it if they want to live. Tells them to look for ore and obey it, or they will all be finished with their dagger. Small breasts tremble, walk away from the girl, murmuring that the guy will kill them with toy guns, then threaten him by saying that when he is finished, the boss will not forgive him. Linten's stomach tightens. Alright, even if they complete the task in 3 days, it's only a matter of time before he is killed. Look at the girl and remember something. If a goblin male mates with a female of the same species, will become a legendary divine goblin. Seeing her tremble, he says no. Fry and the Lulu flame approaches to calm it down. Linten covers Lulu's face and asks him if he wants to stay with him. If you accept, she will protect you, will give you food, a warm place to live, and will not be attacked. More determined to become stronger. Says he always keeps his promises, but they are too weak to fight and needs your help to become stronger. Lulu excited to stop being beaten. For those little boys, asks how they can become stronger. Linten tells her that if she is willing to, having children with him will make it stronger, and then he will fulfill his promise to protect her. Confused and embarrassed, Lulu admits that she has never made it with a male. Lincoln tries to calm her down. If you accept, you will not have to worry. He will take care of the rest. Then something unexpected happens. Linten bends down and kisses Lua, takes his hands as if he were starting a game, willing to help her friend. Lua asks Linten to let her have her babies. When he tries to have children with her, the system tells the guy, Reincarnated, that they will have 7 children, and that this will increase your level limit. Also says that due to the increase in the limit, receives 9 more attacks, more than 100 HP and more than 10 defense. Linten's physique changes completely after the improvements. Check your strength statistics. Muscular and excited, he says he has not only risen in level, his body also changed. And now they will have a better chance of defeating the priest. Goblin takes off his clothes that no longer fit him, comforts her, and tells her that she now belongs to him, and protect it as promised. Lulu looks with love and calls him kindly. Then they listen, shouts and requests for help from the goblins looking for iron ore. A giant wild wolf goes out and attacks a boy running for his life with something in his arms, fleeing. surprised that they found iron ore, but also problems. Fulfilling his promise, tells you what to expect. As he approaches the werewolf, the beast is about to devour the angel. Linten launches himself with his sharp dagger and new strength. Hits the wolf in the neck. Saving the goblin holding the ore, the mirror freezes. Looking panickingly, Linten takes down the wolf with a brutal blow. When Linten falls, he absorbs the wolf's magic power. Goblin congratulates Goblin for finding ore, says the quality is good, and orders you to find more. Upon return, they will make the weapons. After collecting all the ores, the group returns to town. Upon the arrival of the goblins, are surprised to realize that the Linten really made an effective weapon. When the goblins arrive, they are surprised. Our boy gives them a clear demonstration of what its creation can defeat, even wild beasts. Linten shows the boss and the goblins a spear forged from iron ore that he picked up. One of the little monsters, already stronger, tells them that he saw the boy defeat a wild wolf. Trying to gain the confidence of the goblins, Linten raises his spear and asks if they want a gun. Trying to gain confidence, Linten raises his spear and asks if they want a gun, so everyone screams yes. But the chief of the tribe looks restless, takes control, and hits the ground with his cane. The priest tells Linten that he did not lie. The boss congratulates him for making toy guns. The boss congratulates him, but continues, I would like to prove that the boy is not a murderer. The leader tells him that if he wants to stay in the tribe, will not be easy, will have to make 50 spears in 2 days. After the boss demands an amount, almost impossible in such a short time, goblins start whispering. In a short time, goblins start whispering about how bad he is, comparing it to humans cleaning. Mientras seems pleased. His plan works for the leader. Our boy delivers the 50 spears on time. Linten tells the boss that the weapons are completed and delivered, and goblins celebrate their success, happy to see him achieve the almost impossible. The leader praises it again. Then the priest announces that everyone will eat meat to celebrate Linten joining the tribe, sending the little monsters into a frenzy. Everything goes exactly as the boy planned. Everyone is excited about a big meat feast. Is when he gives Linten a piece of roast beef, saying that it is especially for him, an offering from the priest himself. Our boy accepts it and starts eating the leader's gift. Then something goes wrong. Linten feels bad, worried, asks if he is so. While the boy drowns by swallowing the meat, the boss approaches, and the girl freezes in fear. Traitorous leader mocks Linten. Stupid for trusting him, says he knew the boy was, and that challenging his authority will only kill him. Then the boss puts his hand on the head of Lo, holding the girl, convinced that Linten is too weak to protect her. The priest asks the boy if he really likes that female. Seeing that Linten cares about Lo, the leader tells him that I enjoyed watching him cut off the throat, calling the traitor, decided to make an example of her, and teach Linten a lesson. The boss says he will do it so that the boy will never be jet in front of him. Again, it seems that the end of what has come, right in front of the priest's sharp claws. But then Linten gets up in a flash, hits the boss's arm, surprising everyone and saving his partner. The leader, so confident a moment ago, turns pale, trying to understand how the boy, allegedly weakened by the poison, could move like this. With sarcasm, Linten makes fun of the old man, calling it stupid and treacherous. Tells the priest that he already knew how to poison him, and that he only pretended to make him believe it worked. By realizing that he has been deceived, the old man explodes in anger, losing an arm and desperate to take down Linten. The leader charges. Our boy squares ready. Linten dodges the attack and strikes another blow to the tribal chief. Now it is the boss who seems to be finished and clean with their super sharp dagger, is the one who finishes it off. After dodging the old man's attack, our boy strikes back and cuts off the traitor's head. This is how the tyranny of the old elf ends. At the moment their leader is decapitated, the little shoulders are frightened. Clean is coming, and they recoil. Fear grows with each step. Then says what matters. From that moment on, Linten declares that he is the new leader of the tribe. Tells the elves that he will take them to attack the elves and humans. Raising his mighty dagger, our boy promises that they will have meat forever. Under his rule, goblins go crazy with their boss's promises and celebrate Linten. Oaths to the old man's body and offers it to his soldiers as a celebratory gift. Ready, the little monsters pounce on the traitor. Dead, senseless, and hungry devour the former executioner leader. Linten remains cold and determined. Take control of the tribe is only the beginning of his revenge. Then he will make the elves create a stronger generation for his tribe. But something observes them, gliding through the bushes. A beautiful elf spy from the edge of the forest, horrified by what she sees nearby. A strange structure in a tree, with goblins hanging from her as a warning to intruders. A girl is happy to see that her grandmother has returned. The spy is a damn elf. The girl asks him to wait because the matriarch is busy, but the young woman insists that she has an urgent report. The teacher opens the door to her mother's cameras, saying that it has something important to report on it. Force dies from the east and enters into something unexpected. Inside, Kasana finds the queen, her Volunteer being cordoned by several male elves. Kasana freezes, mortified of surprising her mother. As danger approaches, the queen asks Kasana to wait and asks what. could be as urgent. Kasana repeats that it has an important report in the wild forest in front of. The queen mocks. What could be so urgent? On weak and dirty creatures. Kasana tells him that she found a large black bear devoured in the forest, does not believe in goblins. Adds that from the tribe of small monsters was eliminated by a young boy, and wonders if that is connected. His mother just looks like worry about a new boss. The queen orders Kasana to take elven soldiers. The queen orders Kasana to organize an operation with elf soldiers. Caresses a male elf while talking. Explains not to kill them all at once. The leader explains that the elf hearts are ingredients valuable for potions. Embarrassed houseway says he understands the importance of keeping to satisfy it, or, if desire, he can choose more, and as a reward he will give her an elf to satisfy her. Or if you wish, you can choose more. Kasana comes out completely bewildered. Says it will investigate in the evening, and will return for information. Return with the goblins. Plan the attack using branches as inspiration. Make a mat, and tell Linten that the forest of 1,000 arrows has about 30 tree homes. Continue with the war. Linten tells his best soldier that when they conquer, the elves receive elf girls as a reward. The goblin practically trembles with emotion, encouraged by the promise. The right-hand man of Linten says he will order others prepare the weapons. Linten starts by putting implement their strategies using the information. Linten calculates 2 elves per house, 70 in total, including 10 in the mines. Wanting to make his tribe stronger. Announces that from now on, will hunt in the wild forests. Goblins explode with emotion. The house allows NT to increase its statistics, gain more agility, and acquire a variety of skills. Goblins use group attacks to take down dead beasts and share improvements. With the ability to devour, absorb skill after skill, raising the overall level to and total power to 250. Linten analysis the numbers and concludes that each elf has about 200 strength. That means that the total power of the tribe goblin already surpasses that of the elves, yet it invades enemy territory, so play for sure too. Linten simulates an attack with the system to study results. Simulation of goblin life begins. Linten leads goblin army. Now stronger towards the elves will happen. Due to their overconfidence, are ambushed, are caught and eliminated. Our protagonist is captured by the elven matriarch, and Hange the system says that Linten. I thought I had everything under control, but it was already in enemy hands without believing it. After simulation, Linten realizes that the goblin tribe was under scrutiny. The elves prepared the ambush. Now strategically, the new leader says the Colombians have acute hearing and sense of smell. Orders to find clues about the spy. Soon finds something hidden. With its magical power, discovers the spy behind a tree. The crowd and its soldiers quickly retreats, planning to inform the matriarch about a possible attack. Bright flies towards this. One reaches the grandmother in the mirror. Kasana screams in despair. Without believing that she has been captured, the teacher falls to the floor and becomes hysterical when she realizes that she is paralyzed, as well as his soldiers, while the goblins praise Linten for hitting an elf. Our boy cares about the reaction of the prisoner's body due to the wear and tear. Linten tells Grandma that he didn't think it would be that easy. Capturing them is better than imagined. Tells them they arrived at the perfect time. The new goblin leader orders the prisoners to be taken, elves back to the tribe. In the village, one of the little sanctuaries shouts that the boss has arrived. Kasana looks exhausted when Linten approaches. Our boy says that body fluid goblin has a special effect on female paralysis and a wrestle. Increases its chances against the elves, since they are matriarchals, furious, and can barely move. Darkness demands to know how they dare capture it and plan an attack on the elf tribe. Kasana tells Linten that, without the mercy of the matriarch, the elves would have annihilated all goblins, and if they hurt her, their mother will not forgive them. With sarcasm and confidence, our boy makes fun of Grandma. The reincarnated one throws Kasana to the ground, saying that he finds it interesting. Linten tells him that the elves he describes and those describing their subordinates do not look like the same people. His soldiers are fools, but they don't sound like the same people. Don't lie. His tribe could have killed all the goblins, but many are still alive. Sure of victory, Linten tells the teacher. Need not say more. Tonight, the goblin tribe will go to the elves and discover the truth. Our protagonist tells the soldiers that they can to divide up the 2 prisoners and devour their abilities. The leader of the little monsters looks to the teacher and asks what she is planning to do with it. After playing with the princess, Linten's statistics go up, unlocking new skills. The matriarch is insatiable. His subjects ask for a break, saying that they can't satisfy her anymore. The queen, mischievous, says they should have captured more goblins the last time they were from home. Exhausted subjects enter. After satisfying the matriarch his desire, she asks about Kasana. An elf says he has not returned. The soldier asks the tribe if they should look for it. The matriarch accepts, saying that it will take some soldiers to support Kasana. The matriarch accepts and offers to send soldiers to support against the tribe of Little. Arrives someone and says that the queen's daughter will not return. The queen is terrified without knowing who she is. In the dark, Linten shoots arrows at the queen. A soldier of the matriarch receives a fracture in the forehead. Desperate, the queen catches the next one, accompanied by his loyal soldiers. Linten tells him that he captured his daughter, and that soon, full maid tells the queen who captured her daughter and marries, sarcastically, our boy. The queen refuses to surrender, and grabs a sword to defend his people. Demands to know what he did to his daughter. The queen grabs a sword and demands to know what he did to her. Linten to his daughter. Linten mocks her, furious again. The matriarch charges, swearing that she will finish it. Linten dodges attack without problems, and tells him that the tribe, elf, is already surrounded. If she gives up, she could be treated well. The elf matriarch stops, paralyzed by the start of the goblin. Linten tells her that he understands her was covered with its fluid. Fluid causes paralysis in elves. Advises her to stay still. The matriarch realizes how she was captured easily. Linten says he heard about tools. Linten believes it was the goblin's plan for the elves with ionic tools. In front of the blade of its future owner, the matriarch realizes that she is looking at the tribe of small monsters. Kasana mentioned the one he did not take seriously. Queen shudders when she hears cries for help. Out of your tree. Linten tells him that his time is running out. I take her to the window to see that she is not there, joking, then tells him it's time to talk about cooperation. The queen cannot believe what happens. Out of their rooms, the elves scream and ask their mother to save him. The matriarch becomes more desperate by the second. Furious, demands to know what they did with his village. Linten says that the little boys, they are no longer weaker than elves. Reminds them that when the elf tribe was strong, killed the goblins, and it is natural for little savages to take revenge when they become stronger. Plain needs more strong goblin warriors. That's why they still need the elves. What happens to them after they are used depends on the attitude of the mother of the person brought in. The queen finally surrenders, asking for mercy to forgive their children. Matriarch kneels before Linten. The beautiful queen agrees to stay and let his elves have children with goblins, making them stronger. In the village of the little savages, Kasana vanishes when she sees her mother captured. The queen is disappointed with her daughter for not believing they could be defeated. The matriarch says that only women and children were left, defenseless, to preserve the bloodline of the elves, then adds that the girls, elfes, had already played with the goblins. Matriarch tries to calm her daughter, saying that they can only survive within the tribe of the so-called Linten. Tells the queen and her daughter that she will feed them and take care of them, but if they have bad intentions, do not blame him for being cruel. If they have bad intentions, don't blame him for being cruel and killing them. The matriarch says she understands, thinking about the best for everyone. Queen asks Linten to take care of her children, saying that they are all his children. Lo arrives, struggling to handle so many children, elves and goblins. Linten understands that matriarch is like this because of love, eternal infinity of elves. Lo asks for help, saying that she cannot take care of all children alone. Linten accepts the matriarch's request and leaves her. Care for elf children 5. Linten accepts the request and leaves. Let the matriarch take care of the elf children, confident that these babies will bring great strength to the tribe. In the future, with the aim of strengthening itself, our protagonist uses the system to see his status. 5. Linten wonders if his is already unlocked to the highest level, because recently believes his is already unlocked, as their values became attributes. Now she just needs to have more children to increase its power. Checks his tribe and sees that everything goes according to plan. Linten is certain that its current strength is sufficient. Elves feel disgusted after giving birth and ask that these boys be taken away. Elves feel disgusted and ask that the babies be taken away. Goblin, our protagonist, asks how many babies she has been born to, and she answers, between 30 and 40. Kasana appears desperate and in a lot of pain. Linten worries and runs to her. The nurse is pregnant with her child, and Linten worries seeing her suffer. The queen tries to help her daughter, asking him not to give up. Matriarch asks Linten to help Kasana give birth. Linten wants to help and cares about Kasana and the baby. Linten asks Lo to separate grandmother's legs to help her. The matriarch asks if she knows how to help Kasana, and Linten says he knows enough too. Kasana does not believe in Linten and does not want me to touch her. Linten tells him to shut up and that the children are also yours, and finally helps Kasana to give birth. Now it is fine. Lo praises Linten for saving Kasana's life. Linten is magnificent and says it was nothing special. Then they hear screams from another cage. Linten finds goblins, panicking about an elf asking for help because she has just given birth. Something is not right. With her dagger in hand and the matriarch by her side, Linten rushes to the cage where the goblins try to take the elf by force and orders them to stop, warns them to wait for the females to recover completely or will face consequences. Also orders that each elf receive an extra portion of fruit in addition to the usual. The matriarch says it is different from normal goblins. Linten tells them that the longer they behave the better. The deal will be better again. Linten uses simulation to see his revenge plan. Says that after much effort he beats the elf tribe. All elves get pregnant and give birth to goblins with stronger attributes as the Lin people grow. Who decides what time is to take revenge on Odier and others, infiltrates Braxton alone and finds the group. After simulations, the system gives you 3 options, each with a different score. Linten wonders if he really found them. And remember that his strength is basically the same as Lauder's. So you can't underestimate Lauder's colleagues. Believes that his attributes are sufficient to defeat. Linten chooses option 1, buying it alone. The system says Linten finds Lauder and almost defeated him, but the captain's master appears. The holy sword saves the lord. Linten is defeated by the one who saved his enemy, and the group returns to the capital unseen. Against the holy sword there is no escape. Linten must be more careful. Linten is surprised. I need to understand why someone so powerful appears in a place as small as Phi. Linten decides to act, seeks to understand why the holy sword appears there, looks at the matriarch, and is convinced that she increases its strength. Sees no other way, so he decides to act. Linten tells him what he needs to go to human territory for a few days and she will be in charge of the tribe. The queen cares about her safety. Linten tells the matriarch that he knows about her enmity with humans, and the elf's mother says he can cast a stealth spell on him. Linten feels uncomfortable, says it is exactly what he expected, excited for the help. Tells the matriarch that he did not expect her to be concerned for their safety. The matriarch says she is just afraid that she will die. Goblins die without a leader. The queen, remember that all your children are in that town, and if he returns alive, everyone will be safe. The queen thinks of her people, remember that his children are there and if he returns alive, everyone will be safe. Lo and the matriarch promise to take care of the tribe while he is away. Lo and the matriarch promise to take care of the tribe while he is away towards its objective. Soldiers walk through the streets in quiet patrols. Looks like a complete security team. The area is blocked. Seeing so many troops, Linten wonders if the Saint of the Sword has arrived yet. Has been gathering information all day long, but you haven't heard anything about her. Yet these patrols look strange. Then Linten notes to a flag going in the same direction. Follows her and finds people gathered around a board with adventurer rankings. Loser comes first. Clean the eyes between saws. Loser became stronger by winning. Either way, Linten knows he can't waste time. If you find no more clues, soon his plan for revenge collapses. Passing through it. Listen to someone promising drinks on their account. Linten stops. Know that voice. Finally, come in and see Lodger drinking carefree. One of the Lodger's colleagues starts washing it, talking about how Lodger and Freya saved him. The girl joins, talking about how incredible his captain is. A member of the boss team interrupts, saying it's ridiculous to hang up on something so small. Then a member of the boss team interrupts, saying it's ridiculous, bragging about something so small. Like a weak reflection. The Elder's partner is furious and tells him to go away and stop talking. The base member responds like a child, saying he will be any team offs. The owner hits him and gets impatient. Dice lost. Dragons are in mating season and steal battle that attracts Linten's attention. While drinking quietly, the owner continues to speak. If dragons attack Brent Sayuri and arrows do not arrive, adventurers will not be able to repel them. The adventurers will not be able to survive the horde. All face darkness. Lauder rises confidently. Says there is nothing to fear because he called his master the Saint of the Sword. Together they join forces against the dragons and defeat them. The reflection becomes silent. The warriors look at it, stunned that Lauder can summon someone as powerful as pre-celebration for the arrival of the Sword Saint and for defeating the dragons. Hiten sees it as an opportunity. If the beasts come, he can use chaos to attack. Turns around and leaves. Late notices that he is leaving, despite the free beverage offer. Calls him asking if he is not going to stay and drink. Does not stop. Not cold and direct. Tells him that there will be more opportunities in the future. Frowning at me. Who turns down free drinks. The city of Brit is decorated, waiting for the arrival of the Sword Saint. Soon late, approaches his master who meditates in a temple. Reports that the distance from the dragon, evil is getting closer and closer, and will probably attack him the city soon. When he hears him, his master wields the gun and stands up. The Saint of the Sword asks how the homework he was late for goes. Replies that the 10 crossbows for hunting dragons were built according to their plans. warns him that if something goes wrong, his smile will be on the line. Upon leaving the temple, they encounter a mysterious. People cannot believe that they are facing someone so and powerful. The Saint of the Sword tells her late that this is a special moment. Ask why everyone is standing still and orders to prepare for battle. And at that time, something is approaching, Brad said, and a massive flying beast appears, with a resident in its clutches, exploding the streets in a panic. The eyes of the Saint of the Sword are sharpened. And Dragon says that when it appears, the horde of dragons soon to follow, orders Lauder to continue with his colleagues to the walls. Elsewhere, a goblin runs towards Linten and tells him that a dragon has arrived. Little boy says he went to verify, and there are soldiers on the wall asking what to do. Cold and calculating, Linten says it's time to attack. The enemy almost arrived, so wait for now. As a strategist, our protagonist decides to enjoy El show. Several dragons fly to the bright city, but a ray of light hits one. On the wing, Lauder and Freya stay stunned by what they can do, those weapons. The Saint asks a soldier if he understood how to use it. You understood how to use it. Soldiers prepare and shoot. With the master's weapons, the beasts fly, falling one by one, crossed by crossbows. Warriors celebrate the disappearance of weapons, but something terrifying is coming. Everyone's screaming that it hurts. Lauder and Frey turn pale, as if they already knew which poison is coming. The purple golden dragon mother appears. Soldiers freeze, murmuring that weapons will not be enough. The warriors think that these weapons will not be enough to defeat her. The beast looks at the furious city. The mother of dragons prepares and launches flames against the wall. Soldiers with bows flee, shouting that the city will fall. But something unexpected happens. Appears a yellow circle, and someone tells them not to panic. The Saint goes ahead and declares that she will fight against the dragon mother, ordering others to defend the city. The princess raises her sword and creates a protective field, huge. The field not only blocks the dragon mother's attack, but also stops the other beasts. From the top of the mountain, Linten watches cautiously, waiting for the right moment. Is not surprised that the Saint can defend the city from the flames of the mother dragon, yet admires the power of the beast. Linten reviews Saint's statistics and understands why he eliminated the attack without problems. To understand why the Saint eliminated the attack, no problems. Says that the Master of the Ear is very powerful and feels calmer. Says that the mother dragon is weaker than the Saint, but has more resistance. Though darkness may strike with its sword, will not easily defeat the beast. Will not easily defeat the beast. With the Saint occupied with the dragon, Linten calls it the golden opportunity he was waiting for. Decides that it has arrived, the time to take revenge on the human race, and orders the goblins to follow the plan and enter the city. While the capital is invaded by dragons, no one realizes another approaching danger. Lauder says flying beasts are difficult, but he is grateful for his master's teachings. Thanks to his master, the captain says he is now a dragon hunter. A resident approaches in panic, shouting that goblins are invading the city. We see the captain's team fighting dragons, and Lauder insists that little monsters are fools, but does not believe they are enough stupid to attack the capital. Another resident arrived, running with several goblins behind. To see the little boys, the captain realizes that he is in trouble. Like a real hero, Lauder orders his companions to handle the dragons, while he and Frey take care of the goblins. A small boy sees the mayors of the capital city, and flees furiously. Lauder shouts that they should not run away, but the goblins are planning the escape. And exactly as Linten planned, the captain and Freya are captured by small monsters. The captain's companions shout that they are coming to save him, but they cannot. Linten appears without the warriors noticing him. In the middle of the fight, Lauder tries to warn them of the danger behind. But before they can defend themselves, Linten eliminates two with his super sword dagger. Lauder and the Holy Maiden despair at the sight of it. Goblin take down his teammates with agility. Our boy approaches and mocks the prisoners, saying he can't believe they fell so easily. Lotar angrily shouts that he will kill all the dirty goblins, cleans the captain and kicks, and tells him to look and stop talking, then orders the reinforcements to take Lotar and Freya by the sewers and out of town, while the rest follow him to the walls, to eliminate the beast raiders. In the middle of a battle against the dragon mother, the Saint of the Sword hears cries for help, and can't believe the goblins are attacking. At that time, the gloomy beast mocks of Lauder's master, saying that they are in trouble. The dragon mother and the Saint of the Sword engage in a relentless struggle, showing its power and mocking the queen of the beasts. Lauder's teacher asks if he fights, and hits it hard, putting her in trouble. Taking control, the Saint says that the mother dragon is basically already there, defeated, and wonders if the warriors will be able to, dealing with dragons and goblins. Then a big explosion explodes in the wall. Chaos in the city attracts the Saint's attention, and the dragon mother, that was about to fall, says that the little toys arrived at the perfect time. To see that the savior of the city, Brilliant, is distracted, the dragon escapes quickly. While fleeing, the mother of the beasts tells the saint that when he recovers, will not frequently forgive the mighty warrior, furious at letting the massive beast escape. Full of anger for not finishing up with the Dragon Queen, the savior of the brilliant city swears that he will soon go to Dragon Island and will end with all. After the chaos and the city ends, the saint returns to the ground, irritated to see that Lauder and his group did not win, not even eliminate simple goblins. One of the warriors tells the savior of the city that the captain and Eivelia were captured by the small savages. The Saint of the Sword does not believe that these goblins were normal. A member of the captain's group tells the saint that the boys were as strong as the great races, and not even Lauder could beat them. Furious, and thinking of rescuing her warriors, the savior of the city, Brilliant, says that he will go to the enchanted forest, and will bring back all goblins. But a resident grabs the saint's arm, begging him to stay in the city, because whether the dragons or the little monsters return will be finished. Then, everyone begins to beg the savior to stay, saying that they are citizens of the temple and the empire, and should be protected. At that time, the Saint of the Sword agrees to protect them, instead of pursuing a member of the jury's group. The Saint of the Sword considers that protecting them is your real responsibility. In the village of the goblins, all celebrate the return of the tribe leader. The little savages of the tribe are surprised to see that Linten returned with human prisoners. The holy maiden is mercilessly thrown to the ground. Lauder is surprised to see that the goblins captured several elves. Lauder asks if he has recovered, and she replies that the poison in her body is strong. Hearing about their powers, Linten approaches and makes fun of her. The girl gets scared, asking how he knows his name and what are their intentions. With a dark gaze, Linten approaches the holy maiden. Our protagonist, with hatred in his heart, stuck his claws into the girls. And Freya screams desperately in pain. As long as she is able to crowd, she can only watch without being able to help her. The captain yells at Linten to stop torturing his partner. Lothar receives a blow from one of the small monsters for yelling at the leader of the tribe of goblins. Asks him if he understands the consequences, for the Saint of the Sword will find them. Will find them and annihilate them for sure. The boy says that the master of Lauder will be his prey, is also waiting for the right moment. And even if she tries to look for them, you will never find them. Continuing with its plans, Linten tells Goblin Khan that he will be responsible. Orders them to go into the forest to hunt flies, to all of the second generation. Knowing that he will be hunted, decides to accelerate its evolution and asks a question. With lots on his chest, Linten asks Captain if he likes to capture goblins and torture them. Lotap seems to have no idea. Linten gets angry, says the captain responds too slowly. Become impatient. Says that the captain responds very slowly and decides to act. With hatred in his heart, the boy cuts off the enemy's ear. Loftats curses, screams that hurts like hell. The captain says they do everything to protect the human race and that its duty is to annihilate goblins. The boy mocks. Says that it will probably hunt down killers to increase their statistics. Linten says it's easier ending prisoners than saving them, and asks how many humans have died. Asks how many humans have died for this justice, and Linten asks. Lauder appears genuinely shocked by the accusation. If Freya is already exhausted, can't believe it, wonders how a simple goblin knows so much about, consumed by hatred. Linten tells them that, unlike them, no need to pretend as an evil creature. Will teach a lesson to its enemies. With little strength, and Freya asks Lauder to save her, the girl begins to beg for mercy. Lauder see Apura a Linten. He tells the maid, who will give him back his own words. The lesson is just beginning, so you must endure. Our protagonist grabs the prisoner by the neck, and says he wants his captain to see what he will do to him. Grabs the prisoner by the neck, and says he wants to fleeing in delivery, and Freya to the goblins, and says he wants to see how long he holds out. After all, the Dur can't really believe it. Will be forced to see his teammates suffer. The little boys begin to close in on the maiden. As ordered by its leader, a goblin approaches, and tells another that it is your turn to guard the prisoner. The guard says Linten ordered her to be kept alive. We see how weak it has failed again. After all the torture, the guard says he is fine, how it was ordered. Lauder tells his partner to hold on. The girl barely holds on, and tells the captain not to worry, because he does not suffer. The guard shuts the prisoner up, saying that he has no right to speak, while the elf queen takes care of her baby. Asks his daughter if Linten really holds a grudge against humans. The girl insists that they are in trouble. Upon hearing his mother's doubts, Ba shows up and says that the boy has already mentioned that he is revenge of humans, so they probably hate them. The elf queen with Linten points out his determination as he never leaves an offense. No response, and that's why the goblin is most special you have seen. The elf blushes, thinking that even in that respect it is powerful. Seems strange to you, as if she wanted to be even more conquered by him. A goblin informs someone that the elves have returned. The second generation elves who left the house have returned early, and that it has level 33, with highly developed statistics. almost the same as those at EMS. The boss is impressed, and the goblin tells him that he is level 33. The MC asks why they came back so early. Was the house that was really so fascinating? El Goblin says they killed all the killers nearby and could only go west in the forest, but they found big goblins massacring other tribes. The MC asks what tribe of the west was being massacred by the goblins. Large. Another goblin says it was the Blood-Tip tribe. Found several tribes with their mark. The MC finds it interesting that they are big goblins. If the leader is captured, would be perfect for the plan of resistance against humans. Captured Captain Lass calling the fools. Still dared to dream. The monsters would crush them quickly. The MC turns around and says that if he hadn't spoken, would not remember humans. A goblin grabs the captain. A goblin grabs him by the mouth, saying it's their turn, and that your skin is too soft. Eivelia keeps quiet, forced to see, and hours later, the captain is exhausted. Night falls. A goblin asks Linten if they will attack the tribe of big goblins. Confirms that they will and that they will capture their leader, has even thought of a new name for the Metska tribe. Goblins shout and celebrate by calling him powerful. The tribe has a name now. An elf says they must be strong, but the protagonist says there is no need to worry. Is confident, has an ace up his sleeve that he hasn't worn yet. Has an ace up her sleeve, and with that we see Eivelia, tied up and almost naked. The next day, the protagonist observes from a point, with a perfect view. It's time to see its power. Points to the Bloodfen tribe and the enchanted forest. There are many large goblins, but he thinks they can handle it. Sees the leader approach and notice that the goblins seem terrified. The MC evaluates it. Does not seem so strong. With 900 combat power, a dozen goblins would be enough. But capturing it alive will be difficult. Paralyzing poison will not work for a guy like him. Needs another solution. If you can use the union magic that Vale used in it, should work. Decides to go to see her back in the Mascot tribe. A goblin approaches Linten and says he did what he ordered. The human is almost finished. The MC congratulates him for his good work. The girl asks to be brought out of her misery, saying that he will redeem himself before the Lord. The MC cleans his wounds with a warm claw. She asks who she is without looking back. When he turns around and sees the protagonist, begins to shout that it does not come close. Shivering screams she's going crazy. That he was a demon who is in so much pain. The MC slaps her, grabs her from behind and hugs her, saying that the punishment is over. She cries, asking if it is true. He stands back and says he does what he says. But she needs to choose her faith. She asks what faith. He tells you to choose between believing in God or believing in him, becoming his pet, and escape from the constant pain. He says so as he caresses her head, and she trembles. Eivelia has already decided. The next moment, she takes a deep breath and licks the protagonist's fingers. He says very well drunk and caresses her in the face. Linten says that from now on he will be its sole owner, is her master, and she will be called Doggy. Drunk gets on all fours, barks and calls him master. Takes her to a well of warm water, takes off his clothes and bathes him. Pleasure makes her say who will do anything for him for being good to her. He says it's perfect and continues to bathe her. Then the protagonist wants to see Eivelia use the sacred light. She asks what it is. After bathing, shows you a book and she asks if the sacred prison is that. Eivelia concentrates and begins to pray. Your body stands up when the power flows through it, and a giant prison appears. The MC is impressed. Walk through the prison of the tribe. The captain sorry and begins to scream so that Eivelia attack the MC and cure his body as quickly as possible. MC says he gave himself up to the voluntarily. The captain does not believe it. Is the daughter of the leader of the secret church. Does not give up so easily. Elens Lordna kneel down and say he does it of his own free will. She obeys, kneels and smiles. The captain despairs. At the sight of her, he leans towards the bars, smiling with hatred, saying that the enemy's actions will make the race of goblins disappear from the world, smiling with hate. The existence of goblins is to be eliminated by humans. The Holy Church will eliminate them. Linten did not expect Edith's identity to be that one. Thanked the captain and told Edith to leave. Told the goblins to attack him. Called Eivelia and ordered him to leave. Now it was time for other business. As the MC left, he said they would take over. In the hiding place, a goblin informed the boss that the boss got up and announced that they would attack the southern tribe, would capture all the elves and have fun. The goblins went crazy screaming about their boss. In the south, someone shouted that a goblin was looking for the chief. The boss made fun of where this goblin came from. The MC went ahead and said he was a Republican-level goblin with human-like intelligence, and that he had come to talk. Some goblins murmured that he must be a mutant, but the MC said he was just a little smarter. Was the leader of the Crazy Skies. The boss was called, and the others had to submit or die. He called the chief of the tribe. The others had two options, submit or die. The goblin also moves at Idiot and yelled at him to shut up, then it with one hand and lifted it up. The goblin also called him an idiot and ordered him to shut up, then it with one hand and lifted it up smiling. It, with one hand and lifted him up smiling and mocking him, saying he didn't expect me to come straight to him. He did not expect it to come straight. After finishing with the MC, the tribe would be yours. The goblins roared for their boss to crush them. The MC did not flinch, said that speaking was useless. If he did not want to capture the tribe chief, Bloodfane would have killed him with a backhand blow by now. The protagonist cut off the goblin's hand. The boss shouted in despair, fell to the ground, clung to the arm, and ordered his subordinates to destroy the protagonist. The goblins jumped to avenge him. Link, who snapped his fingers, come out with a knife, went through the chest of a goblin. Bloodfane. The mask of goblins appeared. Emerged from their invisibility, enemy goblins painted, asking how they could appear without making noise, and sea servant silent sads. Then shouted, that will annihilate all the goblins of the Blood Prey tribe, was the order of the chief. Panic spread. Warrior goblins were. They had all fallen into the MC trap. He used that negotiation to keep them focus on it and leave them exposed. The goblins were no match for the boss. So he tried to flee, even while fleeing, shouted that he had to kill the MC. Then charged again to hit it. The MC kept his arms, and said only one word. Aomelid began to launch a cage of sacred light. A bright cage locked around the yellow goblin. Bros, the goblins did not use light magic. Full of hatred, saw something that struck him more. Beach knelt at the MC's feet calling him master. Praised her by saying she was a good girl, and that it had become stronger after joining his side. Thanked him for the compliments he passed. The goblin was chained in magic of light, cursing the MC, while Linten told him to be a good creator. In the tribe, the goblin chief was chained to a rock, and he said taming it was a great job. Cleaned his knife and said he was done. Now the boss was not a threat. The captain was impressed that a goblin was captured, and he wondered how he moves it. Linten told Lugia that the others, goblins to be in charge of artificial insemination, just needed to supervise. Told Lugia. She accepted, gave Eivelia. Gave it to Lugia, who agreed to take care of her. Then asked the elf queen for help in getting ready. Since I was going to see a friend. She asked if he was a real friend. He said yes, a very important friend. But the arrogance of Lugia, human forces would soon arrive, and perhaps they would not be able to face them. It was time to visit the mother dragon. Dragon Island was 100 kilometers away, and the quickest way to get there was to attract a dragon. Left several wild cattle on the shore. With so much blood in the air, a dragon would soon appear. Hid inside one of the cattle, as the dragon is approaching, grab the beef and take off at full speed towards Dragon Island. When he arrives, he releases the beef in a jar, where it hits the ground. When he arrives at Dragon Island, release the beef in a jar. MC does not become the flesh of the fall. Zeldealer read if he realizes that dragons do not hunt only for them. Now all he needs to do is find the dragon mother. Something talks behind him about something strange in the food, and scares him. A purple dragon approaches and says it recognizes him, was the head of the goblins who attacked the light tribe, because he loitered in his territory. Believes he could not eat it. The MC asks you to wait. Wants to propose a deal. The dragon finds that interesting. A goblin offering him a deal. And begins to transform into a human. The dragon says it is something nice. May decide not to eat it. Proposes an alliance for, take revenge on the Saint of the Sword. The dragon is impressed that someone inferior dare to defy the Saint of the Sword. What his smile awakens. Asks him how he plans to defeat this woman. And he says it's simple, send dragons to harass the people of light. From time to time, and goblins. What goblins can do against this woman? What is your plan? She lifts a finger, and says that facing the Saint of the Sword will not work, says they must attack his mind. Breaking her spirit is the best way to defeat her. The dragon mother laughs and says she understands. Use goblins to destroy without losing soldiers. Sounds perfect. The protagonist asks if they have a deal. She says yes, admitting that she didn't expect to meet it. Goblin's so cunning. The more you look at, the more he likes to be. Licked the lips, and asks if he should give you a small reward. The MC freezes. Realizing that the dragons are in heat. The dragon mother also realizes that his body is too small as it is. We'll give you another reward. First, look ahead and ask which one to choose from the tribe. Crazy Sky. The Dur is crucified in the center of the tribe, with goblins armed nearby. Has been there so long, and the guard has not yet come to rescue him. If he does not escape, he will soon lose his temper. But he has no idea how to escape. Remember that goblins are not very tall. If it reaches a higher place, may have a chance. See something that terrifies him, a flying dragon. Yells at the goblins to let him go fast. Does not want to be burned by the dragon's breath. The dragon lands in front of them. The protagonist is on his back. Goes down and removes the hood. Says he has returned. Goblins look at him in amazement. Asks the dragon to rest. Goblins celebrate by shouting that Linten is amazing. Lauder is confused. Lauder wonders if he is a goblin, hopes the Greeks will save him soon. In the City of Light, several strangers approach the center, bow before the Saint of the Sword. The Saint says there is no time for formalities, must act quickly. Should create a rescue plan as soon as possible. The system warns the MC that it is entering a new plot. 3 options: kill flies, create goblins, or move forward 1 month. Chooses to advance 1 month. The third option means the Saint of the Sword will not attack him during this period, so he chooses it. Scores 20 points. This system accelerates time. E-Desk, the corrupted forest no longer gives you experience points. Score 20 points, and the reward was 20 times your life score. Time jumps a month. The protagonist wakes up. The system informs you that the time jump is over. If at the bed thinking how strange it is that time passes like this. The system congratulates him to achieve level 50 and obtain 1,000 total points. His stats have gone up but not his strength. Low and breaks in his room screaming that newborn goblins did not survive. Low and he run away. Elves cry over babies' bodies. The protagonist asks what happened. Grabs an elf and asks if something went wrong. She says she doesn't know what happened. Only 3 newborns survived weakly. Lauder laughs, calling the goblins idiots for thinking they could create a generation. Powerful, the protagonist says it sounds as if he knows why newborns were lost. Lauder says that the higher the level of a goblin, more difficult is for the children to survive. Lauder says it's hard for goblins. The NC appreciates the information, although it is late. About reproduction, thanks for the information. Although he was late, turned around and told the goblins that was all his, but they shouldn't kill him too fast. The goblins thanked him and shouted that he was cruel, would become a spirit. Vindictive, and I would never forgive him. The MC thought it was too late to create a new generation of hybrids, but they needed them to fight the Holy Sword. It would be difficult, yes. Discover how to evolve goblins quickly. The dragon landed behind him, approached the MC like a cat, and began to rub his head against him, wondered what was wrong with her. The dragon was entering a state of transformation, while in this situation was special for him, so it finished transforming. That was the special situation. The gift that the mother dragon had left her. The dragon female began to approach the MC, and he became nervous, jumped on him, knocking the intent to the floor with a face in love. Sat on her lap and licked her lips. The system warned that had unlocked a new achievement, and this time their statistics increased a lot. The protagonist recovered of the growth session he got from the dragon. Was only 1, but he was incredibly fierce and thirsty. So this was the power of dragons. Had already become a kind of paradise. Could grow up drinking his blood. But she wanted to do that with him. Appeared behind him again, even fiercer. Said he was not done with him yet. Cried desperately. Saying he had things to do. Had to give his blood to the goblins, and then he could return. Pounced fiercely on the goblins. Got confused and panicked. Looked like I was going to dismember them. Night fell. The goblins gathered around a campfire. After drinking the dragon's blood, evolved a lot. That they could evolve more. Not only him, all goblins evolved into the class. Even so, its overall power was slightly less than expected. It was time to get equipment. Asked the system to open the store. While checking, thought it must be strong. The system showed that he had 180 points to spend, sufficient for advanced equipment. Saw an elementary crossbow that absorbed elements and could fire elemental arrows. Was small, perfect for long-range attacks. Saw an ability called Unarmed Defense that allowed him to stop 3 armed attacks. Cost 80 points. Skill was powerful. Could save his life. Decided to purchase both. The system said that the exchange was successfully completed, and both were in their inventory. The ANC asked aloud how they would work in battle. I wanted to test them on someone immediately. Then he saw Lauder and called him Lauder. Had a desperate look. Imagining what it was about. The protagonist told him he was the perfect candidate. Lauder, I thought what I was going to do now, and thus became the first in experiencing the power of Intian of the Catalan species. Someone in the forest, a human witch, shouted for help while his partner taunted. Was not interested in insignificant creatures. Preferred to hunt dragons with the Saint of the Sword. A third adventurer said that the mother of dragons was too big a problem, and this job was easy, should not waste the opportunity. The witch noticed something ahead. He warned the others that they prepared for battle. A giant spider fell in front of them. The struggle began. Even though the little witch feared spiders, it was just a level 3 bug. There was no need to make a big fuss. It was just a level 3 error, not to be given so much importance. One of them murmured that it looked like the leader was easy to find. In effect, in a conservative species, one murmured that he looked like the leader. Stated that it would be easy to find it. We're already celebrating an early victory. The warrior ordered the load and told the others to cover it. Credit would be yours. As the angel roars, one of the engineers asked the captain to wait. Several goblins had been defeated on the road. But this would be his first death of a species. The captain agreed and told him to finish it quickly. The boy asked me to keep an eye on him. Rose leveled his spear, knocked down the goblin with a single blow. Storm spear through the weapon straight to the goblin championship, aiming at the larger target, shouted for him to die. Everyone froze. The goblin caught the spear like it was nothing and challenged them. How it was possible? Old Gabon backed out to launch it, and the captain shouted to activate the fast start. The spear hit the center of the chest and detonated. The explosion shook them. The corpse was clean laid through the middle. Were stunned. Had almost been shattered. If it was a physical tight, needed distance, the goalkeeper prepared his shot. One smile was enough. His aim did not fail. That's what he thought. A hand hit his stomach. Looked back, desperate, and saw another goblin laughing behind her. A hero. The goalkeeper collapsed. The swordsman shouted to remain in formation and to surround the goalkeeper in the center. Now the witch screamed. The captain, to look where he was pointing, turned around. Goblins of different sizes were approaching. Everywhere in the forest someone was asking for help again. This time it was not a bait. It was them asking for real help. Goblins celebrated. Humans were hiss. Now a goblin has claimed the witch, but another one interrupted it. The dam belonged to the tribe. The chief had ordered the capture of humans, but one escaped. The four-armed goblin roared. Had already killed many humans. Were strong enough to decide what to do with the loot. The goblin began to reveal itself, shouting that they were the strongest and the tribe was to follow them. One said that the older brother was the strongest, so they would follow. Looked at his reflection in a sword and decided to take the spoils back to the tribe. First back to the tribe. Word spread that the reinforcements were returning. Captured several incredible humans. Their leader was called Goblin. The protagonist sat in silence. An elf on his nervous side asked if I could still control them. I don't understand anything. The four-armed goblin lifted the human captain. That one was his and I was going to eat it. Linten went ahead and told him to release the captain. The human had information he wanted. The goblin looked at him with disdain and smiled uglily. If Linten wanted the human, I would have to give him one of his wives. The woman shook in fear. Linten raised his arm to stop him. Anger burned in his eyes, and asked if he knew what he was saying. Is their leader? The four-armed one becomes. Points to the red-haired goblin and calls him Goku. Quan says Quan is stronger than Ems. So they will follow. The MC looks at the two goblins and asks if Goku. Juan is the one behind the. Says that if the redhead beats the four-armed man will forgive him. Burst out laughing, saying that Juan will never obey the MC. Juan is the new boss and kill the MC to rule the tribe. One hand sticks to the head of the four-armed man. He gets out of control when he realizes it's Goku with whom he holds it. I was going to talk when ketchup's all over the place. The protagonist and the elf are stunned. The four-armed jazz on the floor and the other goblins walk away in fear. Redhead calls MC leader and says that since it all understand more is not like those useless idiots. Respect the MC but believe the brute force. Calls him father and says he defeated the previous boss to be the new leader, so now he wants to give it a try. As level 50. Their statistics are absurd, and his total score is 1200. The MC smiles. Understands it. The boy has the guts to challenge him with a power of 1200. Linten lets out an aura of fire, and says that Juan's growth is impressive, but he is sure he wants to challenge him. The protagonist's aura resembles a Super Saiyan. Start cheering on Goku Quan, shouting to destroy the MC and become the new boss. The protagonist closes his eyes, and says that it seems that many goblins are willing to follow Goku Quan. Are willing to follow Goku. But first he wants to confirm something. He conjures. Must join his side, otherwise they will be annihilated. If you want to follow MC, must go to your side. Goblins who want to follow MC must join his side, or will be destroyed. The captain thinks the MC is a priest, and is impressed. Cannot fight them. When the leader dies, will be able to escape. When several goblins join the MC side. John has made his choice in front of the MC. Wants absolute power. Unsheathes his sword. Launches himself towards the MC. But the MC stands back and dodges the attack. The captain pales. The redhead is even stronger than when he captured it in the forest. Them praises Gabu's skill. When he raises his sword, the sheet Leniakonda falls powerful and tells him to take the next hit. The redhead gets scared. I have never seen such a weapon, and it is incredibly fast. You know you can't dodge, so he confronts her and cuts the fireball. The protagonist notes and realizes that the goblin is really tough. Gabo as it advances, with his sword roaring more than twice the size of the MC. The protagonist lets out a sarcastic laugh. John's blow hits the ground with so much force that it explodes. Humans are terrified. Goblins become tense. Gabo John looks with horror. The MC stopped the sword with one hand. John Sintian praises his strength, but says it is not enough. Use the unarmed defense. Pulls out his crossbow. John's eyes open. Look at the power of the crossbow. Only one scream is heard. The MC asks if he wants to continue. John says no more. Kneels with his face covered. Sintian remains impressed. John's face is covered. Linten remains impressed by his courage. The other goblins begin to plead for their lives, swearing not to disobey him again. Kneel and tremble at the power of the Musi. He calls them useless cowards. They ask for forgiveness and swears. Follow him, tells Gok to stand up and use a healing ability. Is Utinit and red madness and cling. Says he has guts. The redhead continued to serve them Mananasi. This one would not kill him. Of course I would not forgive others. Bobo thanks the MC and takes care of the traitors. In his life he says he will deal with traitors. Now the desperate goblins continue to beg for forgiveness, but Bobo Xian crushes them. Lintian screams for goblins to devour Lintian, shouts for the goblins to devour the traitors, and be strengthened. The captain, stunned, he asks what kind of trouble Lauder got into. This was not some random reflection, was much worse. The MC approaches Lauder's cross and apologizes for not being the show they were expecting. Lauder, he really believed that those useless idiots would save him. Falls him. Lauder grits his teeth and says it's his fault. Of the holy angel of the sword, he who only knows how to hide in the city like a coward. Then laughs, shouting that everyone there was unconditional. What impresses me the most is that he has not yet lost his mind. Captain admits he underestimated Ems, but tells him not to get excited. The holy sword would come when I defeated the mother of dragons. The protagonist kneels in front of the captain and asks him if he believed it. Things were really going well for him. But it all went wrong. The captain laughs and asks if that means that everyone in the squadron calls for a quick death, since it has already provided all the necessary information. Asks to die since he has already given all the information. I would like to die and end up like Lauder, so asks the MC to grant it to him. While Linda looks at him in silence, the MC says he will grant his request. Holy sword, and she wakes up, sitting on the bed, asks what's going on. Dragons were defeated. The heroes are back. The boy says yes, but stutters. Tells him to stop stuttering and says that only one person from the squadron has returned. The others were annihilated. The holy sword rises in shock, even in his now fully armed, goes to the hospital to see the who was still badly injured. Asks him what happened. He is in bad shape. She asks how she got hurt, asks you to save your colleagues as soon as possible, and warns that goblins are abnormal. The healer yells at him to hold on. Someone says it can't be solo goblins. An angel says he doesn't care about blood. Will hang them like worms. The holy sword tells him to wait. Do not worry about the blood. Wait, dragon invasions are becoming more and more frequent. Can attack at any time. She can paint everything by herself. The magician asks if they have any chance of returning alive. Someone interrupts the discussion and says he does not need to. Lollangs. Arrogance leads to defeat. That is why the Silver Leaf Order fell. Is almost a captain of the Order of Death. Orders him to leave the mirror. The Holy Sword says an entire squadron was defeated. Does he really think he can do it alone? Believes he can do it alone. Says he faced 4 Titan warriors and survived, and although those Goblin are of the bloodline, cannot hurt him. Then removes the mask, revealing a face with a great smile, and says they only need to wait for the good news. In El Pueblo MC asks system to restart life simulation. The system informs you on the orders of the Saint of the Sword so that almost attack the people, and that it would be a great loss for the MC, even if he wins. The Mizu wonders if he is almost that strong, capable of causing massive destruction in the town. The system gives you 3 mission options: change the people, prepare for the attack, or capture Kaisumo. First choose the last, and receives the mission to fight Almost Smo. The reward is 20 points, but first the Miz he needs to know who is almost there. A loud laughter sounds in the center of town. Lauder celebrates the arrival of Kaisumo, saying that goblins don't stand a chance. Your time has come. The guy has already defeated several Titan warriors. The MC looks back and says that Lauder trusts that man very much. The MC asks what Titan warriors are. Lauder says they are powerful fighters, created with Titan genes by the enemy kingdom, capable of dismembering limbs with bare hands. All condemned, says Lauder laughing. The MC mentions that Kaisumo has some tricks, but Lauder continues to shout that they will be torn to pieces. Lincoln thinks it is better to be careful. Maybe I should send someone to try Kaisumo. Almost rides in the forest. Following the trail of adventurers and goblins, the forest is empty. What feels wrong? Finds the remains of the Silver Squadron and calls them useless idiots. The smell of blood is strong, intoxicating, and as him, maybe this time I can destroy everything. Anyway, he hears cries for help behind and turns around, trying to locate the sound, spurs his horse to the sound. When a blonde woman arrives, she is kneeling, naked and trembling, asks him who he is, but not. Responds immediately, and becomes. Hisamop recognizes his face. She calls her name. Eivelia asks him to save her. He shouts in amazement that he is still alive, approaches and asks if Loder is still alive. Crying, he says he escaped from the goblins, but Loder is not with Hisamel, asks him to point out where the tribe of goblins is. She says it's not far away. Hisamop is approaching, fears the worst and heads towards the tribe. And Blea screams to get her out of there, but he is far away. Screaming for her to fend for herself, Hisamop has a mission of his kind, gives you a bonus when working alone and another when defeating enemies with dead power. Hisamop receives 1 bonus for working alone and 1 for defeating enemies. Hisamop only needs to ambush them and accumulate. Hisamop is aired. His horse falls to the ground. He lands without hurting himself and looks back. The attack comes from Eivelia. Hisamop asks why he has not left. She attacks him with holy light. Eivelia attacks him again. Hisamop asks why he is not leaving. She hits him with sacred impact. Eivelia lifts her cane and throws sacred light, hitting Hisamop squarely. Hisamop asks her what kind of spell she controls. She does not respond. He grabs her and asks her another question. She does not respond. Hisamop, I licked his ass, and he says he will not treat her gently. Does not like to kill only flies. Is interested in peeling his skin. Points his sword. Eivelia is a good opportunity to obtain bonuses. A voice says he understands why he dared to go alone and try to eliminate them. MC stands behind Hisamop, sword in hand, saying that your statistics and equipment are wrong. His sword has a deadly harvest, which increases critical damage by 90%. If almost we land, a blow is bad. Hisamop surprises how a low-level goblin stole his sword. In an instant, Eivelia runs to the MC calling him Mistro. Hisamop shouts that it has been discounted. She stooped to being a slave to filthy goblins. The MC strokes his head and says he's fine. Thought Hisamop would be formidable, but he's just a psychopath who likes to kill. Hisamop says he could deal with a guy like that, even without the sword or passive abilities, was fully able to send the protagonist to hell. Hisamop pulls out a knife and launches himself towards the protagonist, who doesn't even bother to dodge. The next instant, 2 goblins appear behind the protagonist and endorse, both armed to the teeth. The protagonist smiles and says that today he will see who goes to hell first. The dragon also appears and breathes fire on Hisamir, who is incinerated in a single stroke. The guy rushed to hell and broke all records. Mientras tanto, the Tanwan tribe. One of the creatures screams that the boss has returned. Another says he brought his prey. Throws something in front of a bound and disheveled man. Asks if he is the one known as the Almighty Blender. Says it is a pity. The man says the other is dead, and that after so much confidence, only leads to death. Screams on the sword, the Lana, miserable witch, and says it was a bad strategy. Send men. The leader thinks he can focus on evolving rare type goblins now. Says this body will provide useful nutrients and tells Gox that this dam is the first one for him. Orders him to share the remains with the others, and the goblins crowd excitedly. Thank their boss, who thinks that Goblin was chosen because it has a better chance of evolving. The creature begins to feed on the remains, while the boss thinks he is hypocritical and sadistic. Picks up a fruit and thanks that for the sacred sword. Reviewed the system before, checks that he only commands 3 squadrons offs, and the silver leaf has already fallen. Knows that one word of Hisamo's defeat spreads, will crush the morale of the sacred sword. The news of his defeat will crush the morale of the sacred sword. Decide, use the simulation system to probe the future. Orders to start the emulation system. Lass, thinking that the sacred sword is an ambitious saint, but here he wins. Then goes and tells a subordinate to gather all the goblins, saying that tomorrow he will lead them to do something big. Goblins obey. The leader decides it's time to take them down. Someone asks how the person was discovered. An unknown person says he was found outside the city. A woman says it was only one. The woman says they have failed several times in wiping out the goblins, and the existence of the dragon cannot be a coincidence. She concludes that there must be some scheme between dragons and goblins, using citizens and trapping them in an ambush, and says they need to do something. Uses citizens as bait, and says they must act. She screams, signaling so that the battle squadron go to the capital. Later, several are riding to their destination. One of the men says that even if they continue to hurry, to the capital will take 4 days. asks what will happen to the defense of the city if everyone leaves, and that this is your plan. Because if they are ambushed, at least one can escape and warn. Adds that if the forces of the saint defeat the goblins, the dragon out of town will not be a problem, and that the real problem is that they attack the city without defenses, while the Greeks say it's the plan. She says her job is to protect the operation and send reinforcements to the city and that they must hurry up. The man seems to understand. The hero stops his horse in fright. One of the men says the bridge was destroyed and asks what they will do. The girl says it was broken on purpose, so they must be diverted. But the captain says they can't, because that could be a plan to force a diversion and ambush. As the bridge was destroyed, this place is safe. Orders to cut trees and rebuild the bridge. Time is spent in the forest. Finally the bridge is ready. Says that time is short and they must rush to survive. The girl says it is rare that it has fallen dark. The reflection stops. This is not good. A great dragon rises on the bridge. Someone screams, let them look at his back. There is a goblin leaning on it. Another man gets scared, shouting that goblins and dragons are allied. Goblin leader laughs, dice work fast, and that they the bridge instead of diverting. They thought they would not be ambushed. The murderer responds by asking if he destroyed it. Swearing to kill him himself, the dragon breathes fire upon all. Fire spreads fast. The girl talks to the captain. Versus goblins. The Argentine vows to capture the leader. Goblin leader bows his head. That's all he wants. See if they can defeat their goblins and mother dragon. Someone shouts that they are sick. Another question by wyverns. The woman says that if they appear, will not stand a chance. The captain says that if they resist, can solve the problem. Tells Bane to run to and warn them. The warrior says he understands his commander. Throws himself against the creatures shouting wild beasts, saying that they met there on purpose. The other runs through the shoulders. They said the sooner the saint arrives they will eliminate them all. But the woman says something strange to the commander. Says they let escape to the warrior by the way and believes that the goblins did it intentionally. It can only be your plan. The leader confirms this. Says they are right. No mother of dragons. Was a trick to lure that dumb woman into town. Wonders what will happen to the city. The commander is furious and charges screaming. Orders the dragon raider to be shot down. Says the city is already lost, but they must survive until the saint arrives. The two groups clash again. The captain fights a big oar, curses the situation, saying that the creature is stronger than him, and there is something about his sword. The orc hits him using the Kisimo sword. The leader of the goblins mocks, saying it's not that hard. Says time is a bit short, pulls out a gun and jumps out of the creature to the ground. Says it will put an end to tempers before the saint arrives. Goblins see several monsters on the ground. The boy thinks he can't hold it. Curses the situation, realizes that he underestimated the goblins, and receives a blow. The leader of the goblins says their time is running out. Orders everyone to be devoured before the saint arrives. The creature says yes and thanks its boss. Then the saint arrives with his army. She becomes tense thinking they are too late. Only the remains of the corpse are found. That warrior curses and says he will take revenge. She says they didn't even leave the bodies. Question: if the dragons joined the goblins again? He says he saw a goblin who controlled dragons and that it must have been the leader. The woman is surprised and asks him about it. He explains that the goblin ordered the dragon to breathe fire and destroy the bridge, and that the commander and all must have been supported by the goblins. And the dragon says there are only a few marks of dragon fire and they look more like what's left of the goblins. Adds that not many dragons come. Then notice something and it turns pale. Begins to roll back a bait strategy. Orders them to return quickly, because something is going to happen in the city. That warrior gets scared and says this cannot be real. In the city is total destruction. The saint stands in the middle of everything, looking at the tragedy, kneels down and wonders how this could have happened. Saying it can't be true, sees a child crying for his father as he hugs him. The woman tells him not, but the child tells him to leave. Turns around and says they only pretend to protect them. When the goblins came there was no flame. Bad person asks who would want there. If you cannot protect them, what type of saint is? They say they need it, but cannot protect them. The girl does not know what to say. She accepts it in shock. Everywhere people whisper that it is garbage. That cannot protect them. A woman accuses him. Even without knowing her, he defeated the saint by destroying her spirit. She wants to meet him. Time passes. Night falls over the goblins. The leader walks among them, while the goblins murmur that he has returned. He asks Guppy how he handled today's homework. And if there was snow, Guppy says raid on city was a success. Reports that some surrendered, willingly to save their lives, and were captured. And as ordered, sent a gold cart to Kadia, and escorted her and her family out of town. The leader praises him and says that from now on, the Igakana should prioritize devouring wild creatures. He thanks Kadia, was the only one who believed in him in her previous life, and believes that the sacred sword is completely defeated. Now thanks the Mother of Dragons for her help. She says the saint collapsed in her bed and cannot get up. Is satisfactory, but he needs to ask if he will continue to send dragons. She asks what she will give him as a reward. Flying back and forth is exhausting. The leader of the goblins tells you to look at something, but the woman suddenly kisses him. She says that what she wants as a reward is him, and asks what he thinks about it. Asks if you make fun of him. She says she doesn't care if the Mother of Dragons ends up with a big belly, but warns him not to make a mistake, or she will be very upset. He says not to take it the wrong way, but asks how a simple goblin could be worthy of the Mother of Dragons. She looks excited. Says he is no ordinary goblin, sees the potential of a goblin king in him, explains that your race of ancestral dragons, strength has always revered, is his nature, wants to meet powerful beings and produce strong descendants. Smiling he says there is nothing to do, must accept the dragons around observe them. He gets an ogre bonus to all his statistics. Side it is better to sneak away before the Mother of Dragons wakes up. Slowly moves away, thinking that is formidable, and that if he is forced to do that again, could be a problem. Someone observes them from inside the cave. She thinks that he is, as she imagined, maybe one day can lead the goblins and create a new world back. Goblins people, someone shouts asking what it is. The woman asks if he tries to push them away. He says that is human women trapped to work with, so you can let them go. Knows that elves are more useful than humans, so he wants to earn his loyalty. One of them informs you the house, and to all the others who, if they want to leave, can go. The woman responds by saying, "Dear mother, our grandfather is surprised by what he sees." Kneels down and says that from what he has seen so far, he is not a normal goblin. Says he wants to stay with the tribe and follow it. He says he is intelligent, adding that it will be valuable if it stays, and promises not to bother the other elves. Thinks she sees it as a winning card for that. Elves, one of the elf girls screams for her mother, with tears in the eyes, asking how he may decide to stay. The elf girl begins to say that from now on he will follow their mother and the leader. Another says it is not leaving. The guy stays smiling, thinking it's what he expected. Says that since they chose to stay, they are no longer captives, but their subordinates. Will ensure everyone's safety, and they thank you for. Thinks that with the sacred sword defeated and without external threats, this is the best time to develop the sacred era and creates conservative races. A servant complains about humans. The elf tells that leader who can help create other, and our grandfather says it seems the only way. A goblin calls its leader, saying that it appears that one of them died and must hurry. The guy died, and he should hurry. Our boy is startled and asks what happened. Something happened, but says he doesn't know what. The guy hid and scratched himself. The creature gets up laughing, and one of the goblins asks if he comes back to life. That goblin becomes a 50-level creature, a mutant with several powers. That goblin turns into a 50-level creature, a mutation with various powers. The creature says he didn't die, he just got stronger. Our grandfather says that his strength and charisma grew a lot, so it will focus on this generation. 3 months pass in the city of Brit, under a sign. A man asks what they think. It has been a long time, and wants to know if the sacred sword will recover. Another doubt an angel says they are goblins, can handle it. Just a group of goblins, the heroes of the Bloodstorm, could handle it. Everyone is seen again. Is the diamond-ranked captain of this. Known is His Highness Sororo, who is talking. After 3 months of constant breeding, have gathered 150 third-generation goblins, while the royal family issues 3 reward notices, 100 gold coins. Ranged adventure groups, buried people are meeting in the city with a view to eliminate the tribe of goblins. The terminal says that this time, we'll face diamond and epic opponents, so you must prepare. Think of diamond. Are already elite among humans, and epic overcomes the sacred sword. Wonders if there will be no warning or guide this time, and whether the decision will depend entirely on him. The elf tells her leader that there is a rapport. He asks what's going on. She says the new goblins are almost mature, but the forest resources are depleted, and everyone is hungry. Our failure coincides that resources are insufficient, and the city is abnormal. To need to relocate to a more suitable location. Gets up and orders everyone to move. The elf says she will take care of the preparations. Sometime later, on a lake near a mountain. Someone says that the cave behind the waterfall leads to a complex of deep tunnels, ideal for a home. He leads the female group. Call 2 goblins, subordinates, and orders them to secure the place, making it safe and guarding captives and children. Everyone gets to work. Shirk is installed to illuminate tunnels. She declares that this will be her new home. They're to follow him. He makes sure they have a good life, but whoever breaks the rules dies. Think the tribe is established. Now needs to investigate what is happening in the city. If the system is correct, the adventurers will move forward with their plan. While in the city, someone leaves a glass of beer. The assistant asks if His Highness should not hunt only high-level heroes, and if he really plans to deal with the goblins again. The count says he must handle it. This time to save his cows and larder. The innkeeper seems to understand. Someone screams calling Kaiser. Dask takes care of everything and gets the reward. What is your objective? The rune murmurs in confusion. Says he takes the reward to eliminate goblins, and that they must pay him 1,000 coins of gold. Someone asks why the magician is there. Another says who is the leader of the diamond rank heroes Rehard. Someone murmurs, but the old man is very angry and asks how he dares. Then someone laughs out loud. Ask if you believe that can't act alone because the sacred sword went mad. And tells them to don't forget that the adventurous Luzalina is also there. People turn pale, whispering about, wait, someone so dangerous appeared, and that they heard that she kills good people for money. The count asks if is wondering who is also there for the goblins. But the man says he is not interested in goblins, so came to kill dragons to be a rank adventure. Do not underestimate goblins. Is low level, but its ability to evolve is frightening. Especially mutant species. Is right, has lived 100 years, and has seen more goblins than women. This low-level species has existed since ancient times, enemy of all races, and has not yet disappeared. Day his beer and says eliminating goblins is a problem, and if it weren't for the reward, he wouldn't be bothered. Eel says it is true. Even the saint and the bishop fought and suffered losses, so they must act with care. Asks him to the old man, why don't you form a group to deal with goblins? And when it is complete it will be all yours. The old man laughs and says they have a deal. As Her Majesty is so delicate, we'll form a group with him, although the old man looks a bit cunning. Spend some time there. Talk about mission strategy. Focused on violence. Says that charging straight into danger can lead to misfortune. And must make a plan. Someone says he is too cautious. Is a problem and adds that he may not participate in person. The young man looks at him confused. A man in armor approaches and thinks it's weird. The old man says he did not expect. See Goblin Slayer here and asks if he can speak. The young man gets tense. Goblin Slayer breaks. Says I don't understand. Goblin Slayer says he doesn't want to be recognized and asks what his highness needs. Thinks he is a very strange person. And even her voice sounds in disguise. The old man says that this man killed a goblin boss. Which means that he has killed thousands of goblins in battle. Ulcer surprises. Then asks if he will join them in eliminating the goblins together. But the man says he doesn't need a group, are only in their way. The magician asks what to be proud of. And tells him not to come for help when captured. Goblins say they should stop wasting time and to attack first. Not let that guy take the glory. Then ask if they shouldn't prepare first. Later the goblin hunter leaves the city. Our grandfather watches from a hill. Activates yellow eyes and evaluates it, realizing that it is a level 65 human goblin slayer with related skills. Is a little surprised when the power of the guy jumps from 1,000 to 3,000, wondering if the system is failing. But the system says there is no problem and gets used to it. Later, a group on horseback walks out of the city gate. Our ass has healed is going to be a hazer, a sacred paradise with power, about 1,300. Next to it is Group, an archmage with power around 1,400. Difficult to handle. Believes that these 2-level diamonds should not be so difficult. Thinks he definitely needs keep an eye on that Metagoblin. Later in the ruins of the Scafiri tribe. That group of adventurers won the area. The old man says it's weird. Such a large tribe of goblins should have been discovered before. They should have found many signs before. The group leader calls to the old man and asks him to check something, then puts a lock of blonde hair on his hand. The old man approaches it to his face and smells it. Says that if he is not mistaken, it is elf hair. The young man asks how women, elves could be helping goblins. Says no. The old man says they searched the whole forest. Cannot be. Most likely to be relocated. Explains these butterflies. Maybe this way they can track down the elves and goblins. The begins to fly around. Says that the flower has lost its trace, asking if they crossed the river. Says they may have to wait for the Goblin to act, but the old man says it is unnecessary. Tells you to look there. Near the river a goblin appears. The young man orders his men to catch him. Our grandfather observes. Everything goes according to plan. The dam took the bait. Then something attracts your attention. The Chassa goblins is on the edge of the lake. Had planned to deal with these two first. But I didn't expect this one to appear like this, with that smile. Then stops. The adventurer takes off her armor and enters the water, revealing that she is an elf. He is surprised, wonders if the Goblin is really a woman. Does not look completely human. And their skills are exceptional. Who has the luxury of bathing in a situation like this is not normal. For the first time you feel something abnormal. Saud is trying to attract it. Jumps over the dragon and takes off, flying on his back. This woman is cunning. Will take care of the other two. First the goblin's house looks up. Wonders what kind of intelligent species is. Seems excited thinking that later on, the wheat goblin has already been defeated. The young man says he stopped and tells them to be alert. The tribe is near. Suddenly flaming arrows fall towards the group. The old wizard orders everyone to retreat while throws fire into the rain of arrows. Is a trap. The young man says they almost fell. The old man still has abilities, but it is not over. Stop talking. The magician screams. Are there a huge mutant goblin is approaching? Crane screams yes ungoblin class and tells them to concentrate on him. The magician throws a fireball. The goblin does not expect it. Looks like a direct hit. But other than that, the old wizard can't believe it. As the beast approaches, wonders how he is still alive. Then the leader tells them to look around. The goblins are approaching and it's all elite because they have armor and toy weapons. Can't let it get close. Let Sissel launch a source of life, restoring the power of all. Another adventurer uses a mid-level spell, Ace Sting. Another quicksand field launches, a third's Rin of Judgment, beating the goblins as they try to defend themselves. And it seems that someone upstairs is watching them. The leader tells her that creature to open a hole for Gobokon to approach. Then the goblin jumps from above and hits the ground. With determination, charge towards the adventurers. The old magician is surprised by the speed of the beast and curses those goblins, tells them to have fear and orders the squires to hold the line. But the goblins overtake the Greeks are easily defeated, so invoke the lore sacred to punish these creatures. Advanced magical power, holy light rise, and asks everyone to gather around him. Surrounds them to heal the wounded, furiously says they will kill them all. Our grandfather admits that the skills of the diamond-level adventurer group are more than I expected. Another group of goblins would not stand a chance, but they came to the wrong place. More creatures appear, and so does the mutant goblin. The old magician despairs. Glob curses the situation, is a mutant goblin. The housewoman goblins, Thez creatures are monsters. A cry cuts short the battle. Glob is badly hurt. The mutant lifts it like it's nothing. Goblins move like in a combat trance. The young leader is also defeated. The old man asks for help to be saved, but the young leader cannot fight, is terrified. Gets up and tries to flee, shouting that goblins are demons. The mutant approaches the old fallen wizard. The young leader flees in despair. The mutant approaches the old wizard. The young leader runs in despair. Curses everything, thinks he should have known there would be archers. Didn't elves. Asks who saved him. Goblin's house, and ask him to save him. Asks him to save him. Several goblins pounce on him. A new fight breaks out. Ear observes him tensely. The goblins are already defeated, full of joy. Thanks the goblin hunter, and promises to reward him. But the slayer questions the idea of rewarding it, and asks him to walk away. The farther the better. And calls it ridiculous. Earl tries to warn them that this is not a tribe. It is normal that there is a lord of the goblins, but the hunter dies. That's how time goes by. Mutant goblin holds old wizard's head. A gun hits the falling goblin unconsciously. Our grandfather watches goblin frenzy from above. What happens? A group of goblins turns to someone. The hunter of goblins approaches and asks if that is the leader. The mutant creature screams that it will kill him and launches into an attack. The hunter prepares. The mutant creature launches itself, ready to fight. The goblin hunter also. At the next time, goblins fly in all directions. Our engineer looks confused what is going on with the system. Was told that there would only be normal blows. But this looks like magic. The mutant goblin activates a skill called Marvel Transformation. Attacks the hunter. The adventurer jokes. Ask if it is a bull. Enraged laughs as he beats mutant to pieces. Grabs his gun with both hands and throws himself into the mutant. Says he is already dead. But something hits him. The hunter curses. Wonders if they should go backwards. Thinks that person is a mystery and could be useful. Orders everyone to step back and form a circle. Tells them to attack from afar with whatever they have. The slayer is surprised that a goblin don't. A rock dragon is heading towards the adventurer. Fall towards her. Without hesitation hits the rocks. Cuts the rocks. Stabs his sword in the ground. Catches his breath. Our boy thinks they have fought for an hour. The slayer grabs his helmet and throws it on the ground. Reveals a beautiful woman. Goblins fall in love. Was previously translated. Was previously translated. Was previously translated. Was previously translated. Was translated. Previously. Was previously translated. 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 Say it. Previously. Was previously translated. Was previously translated. Should speak. Despite being a low-level goblin. Is well above expectations. Shows him his wound and asks if he will not heal it, as requested by. With a smile tells him not to worry. Will fulfill its promise, but first he must satisfy it. Tells him that he looks like a low-level goblin, but he has the mind of a goblin king. Is his type gets too excited. And our grandfather asks if he is joking, thinks he let his guard down and fell into the trap of a crazy woman. People around you turn around. Our boy does not understand and asks what is going on. The woman approaches, smiling and says that everyone is under his control. Laughs, jumps, and hugs him saying to relax. Will not kill him. He even says he will stay with him. As if I had already decided what to do. Lo throws himself to the ground and wonders what creature will become. Before he reacts, attacks him and still wonders if this is real nearby. Earl observes he can't believe what he sees and is horrified. A goblin slayer is a woman and is with the goblin. Something is coming. Earl freezes in terror. Warns him that this is a goblin's nest. If it continues to face consequences, the woman's own best wants to see how strong the question is, who he is and what power he is, how he controls his subordinates. Goblin Slayer asks if she tells him everything. Will let her follow him. He says it depends on what he says. She says she is descended from a goblin king. Our astonished grandfather, the question how it can descended from a goblin king and why she looks human. She says maybe it's because of her human mother. There was not only one goblin king, explains that the higher the rank of a goblin, it is more difficult to have. But she survived healthy. After a decade, it killed the goblin king, who tried to force her, ate his power, and controls the goblins. Our grandfather asks and control to the goblins for energy of a king. She says he put some of that energy into the weapon he forged, so that when he is hit it is like an iron gene. Cannot disobey it. She says who became a goblin slayer because she hates them. What he did to him before he killed him was personal. Our grandfather, not surprised that his personality has been distorted. He almost feels his pain and is a natural weapon against goblins. Says they seem to have something in common and asks him to join him. The woman says she thought I would be scared and that there was no need for tricks. Our grandfather is surprised. She says the situation in the city is complicated. Him return and be his spy. What is better than staying there? Our grandfather asks if he is really that guy. She says that since he is hers, must now protect it. First gets tense. Later, inside the cave, check the info at the terminal. By seeing their points, realizes that he was expecting a woman to. With King's life energy, it would be better if someone asks if he is his cousin, and says he is still alive, catching our unsuspecting reflection. People close murmurs that his cousin is the shame of the family. They did not save the fool. The man replies that he is an idiot, tells him to look over there, and that he will die before he. A goblin grabs the terrified young man, asks what it does. I take him to the pod, while begging not to kill him. Says he is noble, and can give them many women. His cousin orders him to stop. Says he wants to see his leader. Our grandfather dies and calls it Doug for keeping quiet all the time. Why talk now? Man says if he releases his cousin, will accept any request. The count tells his cousin that he made a mistake, and that he should not have spoken to him like this, calling him a dog and questions how he can be a prisoner and try to negotiate. Man suggests hurting his cousin and letting him go. Then they will send more people to rescue him, and they can devour them all. Cyril is horrified by what he hears in trance. The guy says everyone deserves to die, says he will kill everyone. Our boy is surprised because he seems serious, and accepts the proposal. Dan seems to be out of his mind. The elf warns that if they let him go, your position will be exposed, but our boy says that is fine and asks if I don't trust him. Have a good time. In the city someone shouts that I have already found that are finish. The innkeeper asks what happened, and the man tells him not to worry, says he saw Kaisar without a leg, riding a carnivorous horse to the real city. People get upset by asking how it is possible, saying that they and the group failed. Then the man asks if the Hats, Bray, and the Brave of the Blizzard were defeated. At that time, Goblin's hunter enters and confirms it. Cider was the only one left. She says they all died, and only Cider survived. Drops into a nearby chair. An adventurer asks the Goblin's hunter if participated in the battle, and she says yes. Hooded man asks about Goblin. She says there were hundreds of goblins, huge and mutant as well, but he took care of everyone. The remains silent. Someone murmurs what is expected. Is what you would expect from the Goblin's slayer. Innkeeper says he can drink for free. Suddenly something flies into the room. Through the door, several bats enter. Several bats hang from the roof. As the crowd watches, the Goblin Slayer asks if they are the cold mercenaries and says it's a great entry. Someone called the Goblin Slayer asks him if he found his nest, as he said there were hundreds of goblins, and adds that these bastards hide underground, so how could I know? The Slayer says she did not find the hiding place. Return after killing them, then ask if you can handle those goblins. A bat asks if that's all, says not to worry, finding the hiding place will be your job, asks if you will join them. The Goblin's Slayer stands up, says he does not like to work at night, and is not very useful. The bat calls it a disgrace, and says it looks like the hunt will be theirs. During the night, these creatures fly through the forest, looking for the goblin's nest. A bat flies through the forest. One asks what the captain thinks, because there does not appear to be a powerful force around it. The captain says the trail ends there and must enter, agree, and fly inward. The goblins on duty say it's nothing serious, but they must be alert. Bats move forward through the cave. One asks if that was really all, just a handful of goblins and a mutant. Then wonders if they went to the place wrong and they found an average tribe, but the captain says no mistake. Is as the hunter said, large goblins perfect for draining, before they wake up. Gives the order to load and drain everyone. Approaches with bare fangs. The next moment, an explosion of energy hits him, falls to the ground defeated. A woman appears. The bat asks for a goblin shelter. Does not believe what he sees. Torque his light around the cavern. Goblins begin to surround them, curses in a low voice, and realizes that they cannot leave, because everything is on fire. One of the bats asks the captain that must be born now. Our grandfather appears, and asks if they dared to go there to drain them. Now wants to see what they are capable of. The captain of the bats looks at the leader of the goblins, then makes a move, and something happens. Begin to spin like a tornado. The next moment, a woman lands. Says that as they have been exposed, need to kill everyone, since it's just a bunch of goblins. In the terminal shows that it is Lilith, a vampire of level 61 with 2100 power. Our grandfather meets. Their statistics are very high. Is satisfied with having obtained the information in advance. The vampire flies and attacks the goblins, asking if the flames will reach them first or if they will die sooner. Lin lights up. Golden energy surrounds it. Vampires shrink and cover their eyes. Like a goblin monster uses sacred magic, sacred energy arises. The next moment, a vampire falls, takes a step forward. We gain nothing, because we do not speak. The vampire does not seem happy. Assumes it is there for the reward, tilts the head. Curious and asks why vampires need money. She looks embarrassed. Then recovers, believes it is easy to deal with the church. If it weren't for the agreement not to drain humans, would not need money to buy food. Lin thinks if he could win them for himself, could improve his clan's bloodline. Our grandfather says he understands and asks, uncooperating, offers to provide them with food. Something is moving among the goblins, but she interrupts. What they have, not sufficient for long-term supplies. Then says he has documents about something, an essential source of life that can replace it. Vampires exchange glances, surprised, and begin to whisper. Our grandfather waits for Karaspi, and the legend tells them. A creature called succubus has long been discovered that taking this vile liquid from men has a special effect. That's what they live for. You don't need to kill, it's just to bring it anywhere, and you can obtain food and store. Adds that goblins are scarce in everything, but if they make a deal, he will be in charge. Vampires will be left with nothing. A vampire says she has heard of these creatures. Another question if they are being cheated. Their leader says they will only know if they try. Suddenly one of them grabs her captain. She protests. Our countesses, and the count is sealed, are not going too far. Should not wait for the count. Women replicate for hundreds of years. How many more sisters do they have? How many more have died for that too? If your method is real, can be obtained without further risk. The girl starts working. Others will become uncomfortable and something happens. Stops then says that he actually can replace what they are used to eating. Emotion runs through each other. All want to try. A fight ensues. So our boy asks for help. Elf tells his boss that he really worked hard. Says vampires were very hungry. The captain calls the goblin. She says she agrees to cooperate and asks what they want from them. Lin explains that it is always dark there, perfect for them to live, and need to protect the caves from intruders. The woman nods, as if she understands, accepts. Our reflection is satisfied with the result. In the city at night, assume that this group of cold mercenaries was eliminated. Someone shouts that he is fed up with that garbage. A man responds. Darkness fears Goblin. What is the name of the diamond-ranking adventurer? The man grumbles, rejecting a lesson from him. Tension remains in the. A man turns pale at the sight of her. The other smiles, happy that he is back. She will go alone to the land of dragons, while they defeat the goblins, so that both can fall. A guy asks if they can really do it. Now they are Someone says it's a little effort and asks them to count on him. Says it will help the sacred sword to maintain the protection path and organize everyone to go to the forest and kill the goblins. She nods and says she will leave the mission in her hands. Her name is Edison, a diamond-ranked shooter. To reach the land of dragons, must go by boat. Asks him since he heard who has object manipulation magic if you can escort her. It is polluted to fight alongside the sacred sword is the greatest honor of his life. But what he really wants is for, at the end of this mission, can ascend to the epic rank of adventurer. In another place where dragons fill the sky, the mother of dragons pulls out one of the eggs. When something catches your attention, screams asking what's going on, a dragon and breaks. Finally says he understands. I didn't expect that woman to recover so quickly. Place the egg on the ground carefully, wondering why this happens now. Hugs and kisses her, leaving it gently, while telling his son to remember. His father is a very special goblin, begins to draw its power, transforming, cursing the sacred sword. Takes his dragon form, and throws himself into the air, says he will solve it at once. Near the sacred sword. Advances by cutting the dragons one after the other. Battle scars mark his legs. The mother of dragons falls in front of her. The holy woman says, the dragon is shown. They call her an Amethyst, mother of dragons. Amethyst says he cannot believe that the woman, defeated by Goblin, got up and asks how he dares to act. Like a coward, the sacred sword says he does not need to be told how to act, but has a threat to his people, will take his life, charges with a powerful attack, and tells Amethyst to try. Furious the dragon throws her breath. Attacks collide and energy explodes in the field. Man murmurs that the dragon is too big. Someone grabs it by the cape and throws it back. Just before the area was destroyed, the mother of dragons observes the sacred sword, shouts at him to turn away and stop being a burden. Amethyst roars and starts casting more spells. A massive amethyst leads to the sacred sword. That blocks as best it can. One almost hit the man squarely. He despairs and curses. The woman uses the opportunity, jumping on the amethysts. When it comes to the head of the mother of dragons, launches a transcendent sword ability, hits the dragon again and again. Nearby a creature screams an egg has just hatched. A little green dragon looks at the landscape and roars. For the first time on the someone is seriously injured. From a rock, the sacred sword watches the mother of dragons apparently defeated. Says he almost made it, who aimed for the head, but as soon as he brushed against it, he took the eye instead. The furious mother of dragons insults her and says he will fight against that crazy woman to death today. Then a voice screams who does not dare to hurt his mother. The little dragon attracts the attention of both. The woman screams for her son to run, to go to the place of his memory, because it is the only safe place. He sees the holy sword defeat his mother in tears, grunts and leaves, tells his swordsman to leave that little boy behind with him and observe. Then throws several energy spheres into the dragon. The creature strikes back spitting at me, hits him in the face, falls screaming and rolling, grabs a potion and throws it in his face. With a shattered face, curses and asks where that lizard is, because it will be cooked by the sacred sword. Says that if he does not cause problems he will be forgiven. Time to go. Because they can still arrive in time to help with it. The man tells him that he can't move the boat with his magic, and says that the dragon fire should later. The dragon weeps with his mother. Says he will take her back to the dragon's nest. Take her back to the nest. We'll find a way to revive it. But cannot lift it. Collapses and I know they're panting. Bends. Says he needs to devour her to regain strength. Needs to devour it to regain strength. At the next time, grunts furiously and starts flying lair. In the dragon's lair. The dragon arrives and lands, seeks his mother. Another creature flies and falls on him, immobilizing him. His mother's head rolls on the floor. The dragon informs the Dragon King that the stranger has been captured. The red dragon observes and says that it is the head of Philbus, approaches and asks who the dragon is, says it is his mother's head, who found this place by inherited memories. The red dragon says there is no mistake, that this was the work of the woman, and it's a pity that you Philbus. The Dragon King bends down to get a closer look, then straightens up and says it's really his son, but he is not a pure dragon and asks who his father is. He says he doesn't know. The Dragon King straightens up and says that really is his son. But it is not a pure dragon, says he does not know, but his mother told him that his father was a goblin. Everyone around him is horrified. A dragon attacks screaming that descends from a goblin, a disgrace to the dragon race, and asks the king to leave him with him. The great red dragon observes a moment, then tells him to wait. Says that this creature is the grandson of the old Dragon King, dead, and the dragon race was reduced to this crystal dragon bloodline, so it must be painful. The great dragon says that if he wants to save his mother, must resist and defeat the dragon at his side. That creature moves, thanking you for giving it a little fun. Then he throws himself and opens his huge mouth to the young dragon. In unflash, the young dragon throws himself into the other's mouth. Nearby dragons freeze in surprise, which only angers his opponent more. Shakes up and launches a flare, asking for help, saying it bites her belly. Another dragon says it is the king's decision, must win alone, and they cannot help. The next moment, the young dragon comes out from inside the creature, flies thinking he survived, who dies, and who can now save his mother. The Dragon King lands. states that he is now a member of the Dragon's Nest and its name will be Nas. The young man asks if they are going to bring his mother back. Now the king orders to take the Philbus head to the world tree. Says that the head will be grafted onto the roots to create a wooden dragon and that this is the only way to resurrect his mother. At the terminal says that despite the losses, achieved a great victory. Lin thinks he has already made preparations for dealing with adventurers. The terminal asks if you want to run a simulation, and our discovery confirms. All celebrate their boss's success, and our reflection sees the pile of bodies is enough to convert the goblins, survivors in this species. Goblins reach level 50 and complete their evolution after devouring the bodies. One becomes a gluttonous goblin, another on a giant hammer goblin with power between 900 and 1000. Goblins with power equivalent to 1200. Link thinks that's because they are hated. To devour. Goblins need to devour to level up. Unlike humans, who only need to defeat enemies, no matter race or group. Someone approaches and says he was not expecting it. The vampire says it has been a long time since feeding on humans, and adds that as a reward, send someone to look for the saint, and our boy asks you to tell him. She says that after learning that several adventurers had died, City race on horseback, planning to call the Legendary Adventures game. Warns you to be careful. Because she used to be a member of the Sacred Sword. Our mayor asks if he is out of town, and says it's perfect because it can come out to breathe fresh air. The vampire is surprised that he doesn't look scared, and even smiles. Suddenly a goblin comes running, calling his boss, saying that something bad happened. Not far away, a group of goblins from another tribe approaches their cave, and our reflection is surprised. Our mirror watches from above, with a few powerful allies. Below, goblins gather behind massive goblin leader. The huge creature barks at them to hurry up and stop wasting time. A beast goblin, level 50 powered 800. Which tribe is the leader, is strong, but a failure. Weird as that one should lead only one squadron. Orders them to be captured alive. Can be a special force of a tribe. Much larger. His subordinate nods let him. Goblins begin to cross the water. Someone asks what that smell is. Goblins say they don't smell anything. Says they may have dropped food in the cave, so they should prepare for a great meal. Something moves. Rapes the leader of the goblins. The great roar that there is enemies and tells them to prepare to fight. Goblins shout they will protect the boss. Another goblin bursts through the waterfall. Goblins scream mutant chord. The leader of the attackers rages. And the next moment he sees his group being crushed. A small creature flees, screaming that they took away his nest, and must inform Mr. A crossbow bullet crosses the air. At the moment the group of attackers have subjected, their leader curses between his teeth they were not low-level goblins. Spits them out saying they are cowards, then falls defeated on poisoned ground. Our mirror looks at it without mercy. Later the leader is chained, screaming to be let go. Grunt asking how dare he question it. Swearing to devour him. Our grandfather needs a social beating. The creature mocks. Is going to be hit by him. Says he is a male like an animal. Why I would be afraid. 10 minutes later. Tools on the ground. The creature screams that he made a mistake, will answer. Our grandfather can no longer ask which tribe he is from, where it is, and why it is here. The creature says it is from the tribe, Beast King in the Demon Forest. This was his boss's residence, and was ordered back and gets something back. Our boy asks what class is his leader, says a Mr. Goblin, and will soon evolve into a Dominator, Link Powler. The creature adds that they are here for something important. For your lord. If you don't believe it, you can go out and see for yourself. Our grandfather asks whether it is a treasure or a magic ring from a gold leader. Lin can seal an opponent's soul according to his strength. Our grandfather did not expect something like this. Here the creature says he has already told her everything and already has a ring, so release it. Our boy says of course and grabs his hand. The creature is alarmed. What will Lin say? He will release his body, but his soul stays. Then activate the ring, ripping the soul out of the creature. The creature screams in despair. Our chest absorbs the soul. Its strength increases by 200. Thinks it is not much, but maybe change it for a stronger soul would change things. The total strength of the tribe, Beast is comparable to that of human cities. Goblin can use them to deal with humans. While thinking about it, the hunter, Goblin asks about that creature of the tribe. King Beast, our hero, is surprised. But she says it's normal. With dark tone, warns that he cannot afford to offend them. Explains that the tribe is under the jurisdiction of the grand jury. Even the Empire, Leonard is not qualified to face the two of them. Lion crawls on the great darkness. The woman asks if he killed that thing. Explains that Grandma governs thousands of miles from the demonic jungle, and there is at least one world class there. Our grandfather is curious, and a little confused, but believes he understands. She asks what to do, and asks for help controlling that thing, with its power line. wants me to return to the king of the beasts and report that the ring was stolen, but wants to distort the message. Nay, it seems that it was not they who stole it, but the royal aristocracy of the Lionheart Empire. The woman is surprised by the idea. Our grandfather adds that he planned to have an advantage, gain an ambush and use the magazine as a hostage to gain experience. Thinks that while the fish fight, the fisherman benefits. Sometime later in the capital of Leonard, the nobleman humiliates him, saying that his family's grandmother was damaged by his actions, while trying to explain himself to his father. Argues that these goblins are not just strong, but also intelligent. Tells his father that the squadron, Riaz, was annihilated, and that his cousin Foreman is also alive. Furious, the elderly man demands to know how the eldest son of the family could have been defeated by simple goblins, and says everyone laughs at it. Young people kneel down asking for forgiveness. Throw themselves to the ground asking for forgiveness. Desperate says the goblin is scary, but the old man orders him to leave, calling it pathetic. Someone calls the count, saying he is there to help clear the name of his family. The count, still irritated, asks what he wants, and remembers that the king commanded the soldiers to stand by, so they cannot mobilize them. Adds that the king has already finished with the sacred sword. The man says the count thinks too small. If the sacred sword solves the problem, the king will think his family is princess. Wants to be seen like this. The plan is to have his son, the goblins, will be defeated. People get tense. Finally that man feels yellow, accepts, and says that this princess comes with him. Later back in the goblin's nest, the count accepts and says that this princess comes with him. Later back in the goblin's nest, the creatures look a little scared. The desperate prisoner asks if he gave it to him. Our grandfather seems to have hit the apple on his head. Lin is impressed that the pistol also works, and that it has not been a waste. Her elf partner is eager to use her, begs him to show her, and finally accepts, says yes. Then someone calls the boss saying that a troop of humans leave the city armed. Lin, another goblin, found a large number of goblins arriving, appear to be from the Beast King tribe. Lin thinks everything is going according to his plan. The goblin informs its chief that a human army took the ring, and that he almost got it back, but his boss calls him. The creature roared, full of hatred. The boss orders, meet and defeat humans to recover the ring. As humans prepare for battle, flags are raised and people in the city welcomes the count. Istanbul asks where the sacred sword is. The guy who had it says he had to attend to things, and asks why there are two counts. The count says he will not waste time with someone like him. The man replies that he is a brave dragon. I guess he fought alongside her. Smiling, the count changes his tone and says they are there to kill the goblins. Someone shouts that something is wrong. Goblins emerge from the shadows ready to attack. The count orders the savages to attack and kill all of them. The Greeks seem to have the upper hand. Even the fat guy does it right. But in the next moment, our grandfather enters the scene and seems to enjoy it. The count wonders how these weaklings, goblins, can be a threat. Believes that at this rate, the battle will not last more than an hour. Then a horse is thrown away. Our mirror freezes when it sees the huge mirror. The scene gets scary. That thing is the Goblin King. Level 79 with 3,000 powers. Our grandfather is shocked for how strong and disgusting it is. The count was in charge and orders everyone to all retreat. Wonders what it is. Arrive reinforcements. Lorna, the count's cousin. The count's cousin says they will handle the big one, so soldiers can take care of the rest. Tells him to be careful not to end up like his brother. Charge towards the mirror and nothing. Begins to pursue everyone. According to the plan, our grandfather thinks it is bad. If it goes that way they can run, as well as the plan. Our grandfather thinks it is bad. Could go straight to it. The tribe can only look helpless. Is a pity, but that girl is in greater danger than she imagines. Another man tells them not to give up. They only need to make an opening for Lorna to assess. The death blow will be his first trophy. Someone tells them not to give up. Only need to make. Uses a martial arts technique. Against. It counterattacks with a powerful attack of its own. Has to win decisively. Uses a martial arts technique. Our mirror is surprised against the mirror. This one counterattacks with a powerful attack. Our grandfather is surprised. The group has much less power than but they manage to keep it busy. The government is furious and demands to know why they dare to attack him. Then the hero changes tactics and uses a power. Our reflection is frightened and releases the roar of the king of the beasts. A man is flying over the battle with a dragon. When they are hit by something, it's a much fiercer sound wave than I expected. Gowan is stressed by the roar and his genie tells him to calm down. Someone falls to his knees, collapses unconsciously, alongside another man who has already been defeated, alongside his colleagues. Lorna wonders why this happens. How can such a powerful goblin exist? Despair hits her. Says he can't handle it. Think of his father and Tisha as he looks at the miserable state in which he finds himself. Now the giant beast looks her fury in his eyes. Terrified, woman urinates and begs for help. Just after a scream runs through the forest, a group listens to it and recognizes the voice of the oven. Thinks something has happened. A soldier tells his highness that, calm down. Now they are the commanders, and nothing can go wrong. A figure with a red aura approaches. Someone asks what it is the king of the beasts. The young woman is with him. One of the men spots the girl furiously, demands that the goblin return his daughter to him. Another soldier tells the leader to return, are about to win the battle. The goblin king watches as if he expects something. That ruler jumps, closing to strike with his sword. The other smiles and prepares a punch. When the blow hits the ground, the man fallen with his face on the floor. More blows fall on the giant mass. Soldiers approach with arrows and spears. Lord strikes the final blow. A warrior screams, is concentrated and forms a ball of fire spinning in his hands. Then climbs into a hole and launches upwards. About the beast. Your attack passes in front of your face, bursting into a blinding flash. Goblins begin to flee. The man is exhausted, looks at the king and laughs, covering his face. Laughs loudly, turns around and tells his colleagues that he prefers to. Tells them he is an epic adventure, but they do not react the same way. Although the blow connected, the enemy is still alive, do not react like him. Now it's the goblin's turn. Launches itself to devour man. The goblin shuts his mouth tightly, ending the poor man's life. Warriors watching in horror. Don is called to become closer. His grandmother wonders if the goblin has begun to evolve. The creature raises an arm full of teeth. His face is even more affectionate. Mewtwo is now a brutal 80s goblin. Its strength reached 3,100. Its power will not increase much in such a short time, but it's already scary. The king of the goblins observes, while its soldiers are devoured. That guy eliminated the strongest. Someone must have this brutality. He also steps on one of his followers. That remains for the protagonist's tribe. Desperate little goblin swears not to run away. The boss yells at others. No one should back down. Whoever does so will be punished. The beast growls. The herd flees. The order is to retreat to the city and close the gates. The goblin army keeps going. The beast orders not to let enemies escape. Lin observes from above, seems to have an idea, and gives a command to his dragon. Goblins are ordered to catch everyone. A flash bursts in the distance. Lightning crosses the ground. The young man wonders if the other has returned. Orders his group to hurry up and withdraw. Inside the mirror, things are not going well. The boss says they must leave. Things are wrong. The man says he doesn't have what the other is looking for, so put an end to it. Is annoyed to negotiate is not worth it. No, the creature asks. Then disappears at the speed of light. A heartbeat then holds it. The creature demands to know what the human meant by saying that he does not have the ring. Lightning strikes the beast, and strikes it cleanly. The creature opens its mouth like a wounded sword, sees what hit her fall in front of her. Something rests calmly on the object. Is a balanced person at the tip of the sword. In Unpai, a strange blue power explodes, surprising the boss. That power surrounds the creature and hits it, or at least it seems to do. Someone grabs a gun. The boss is Marshall, a fighter with spear, with a strange black shadow on his arm and weapon. Others join. Emma arrives with Austin, who asks if there is a need to act like this. A man announces the arrival of the sword master, sacred together with members of the hunter group. The interest Hanto. In the city, our hero watches from the shadows. I didn't expect the Hunters Guild to arrive now, and ruins his plan to deal with that goblin. The fight rages in the middle of the city. That strange creature carries forward, unable to distinguish friend from enemy. After devouring that goblin, shows a brutal magical ability. Devouring his own species heals him quickly. Lin is surprised that he has this talent, but judging by the wounds he has, will take time to heal completely. Is almost satisfied with the result. The adventurers, murmuring that the murderer did not die of a stroke, straight into the neck. Is classy, sir, so it will take more. Asks them to wait, that he's just a goblin who doesn't want to fight. If they let him return to the Great Mound, we'll ensure that the goblins do not return. The sacred sword asks if it is the Great Mound. The creature says if it blames that guy of the ring, but the guy swears he never stole anything from maps like them. The sacred sword notices something strange. It's all related to that problematic guy. Austin asks who he is referring to, if it is that goblin from before. She says the goblin is from the Great Mound, which is far away, and none of this is right. It is not right, he is asked, if you believe that everything was planned so that both sides were injured. His partner asks if a goblin could do something like this. Says he doesn't care. Killed Stammen. There is no turning back. Austin smiles and asks to be allowed to drive into the parking lot. The creature gets restless. Suddenly, an energy storm arises in the midst of everyone. The creature tries to protect itself. You are going into confusion to escape. The sacred sword covers his face and recognizes where he comes from. The dragon flies over them, and there is our paradise. Lin thinks goblin would be good food, and it would be a pity if he died at his hands. Then help to escape. orders his dragon to go after the brutal goblin, but the holy sword will not let him escape. Curses the goblin without believing that he can manipulate. The wind jumps after him, saying it has to be him. Then launches a series of attacks. Our shield commands the dragon to dodge. As they go down, keep flying. The woman is still glued to her tail. He knows that the blows will not kill him, but they will still be a problem. With nothing else to do, the holy sword can only see the goblin escape. Screams that no matter where he runs, will find him and kill him with his own hands. Lin can say it is strong. Will face you when you have the best chance. Something runs through the forest. That brutal goblin goes through all the trees and decides to hide there. Before continuing, but inside he finds something strange. Smells like other goblins. Remember that creature saying that humans stole the ring and that man swearing it wasn't him. He then clicks. That guy wanted the ring, and maybe it's still there. Hits the wall with force by breaking through. Elves gather. And the goblin asks what to do if he enters. One wants to go dialing with him, but another says that the leader ordered not to show himself. Then the hunting goblin shows up and says it's okay. Adds that he believes in him, and will not let anything happen to them. Suddenly something attracts the creature's attention, and faces our reflection. Surprised that it arrived so fast. Says he will not escape from his home territory. His dragon breathes fire in the creature. Then points his gun, and the creature jumps to dodge. Attacks the dragon and hits it squarely. The creature demands, know how the ring came into the hands of that man. Says that this life inferior stole his ring, and orders it to be handed over to him. Our grandfather pretends not to know. Shows the ring and asks what will happen if it is not given to him. The creature says it will die. Lin dodges easily, mocks by asking how that body. Our chest jumps towards the creature. At that time, gets a new ability. Residual howl. The creature screams in anger, while the goblin watches, then activate the new ability. Launches a powerful shot of energy. That sends the monster to the ground. The creature has already been defeated. As Lin approaches. Was a risk, but obtained the ability. A punch hits his stomach. Flies and collides with a place. Suicide does not cease, punching him with punch after punch while blocking as best you can. Check the terminal. The elf strength is 2100. Thinks he is lucky that he is still injured of the fight against adventurers. The creature cannot believe that it is resisting the blows. Decides that food makes you stronger. With a quicking spell, our chest strikes out of nowhere. Screams furiously, feeling the stunned blow that it can't take it down. The next moment, it is Paradise that has already been defeated. Our grandfather thinks there is no food for him to recover, and this time he is going to die because it is the last. The Slayer asks what to do. Seal his soul in the ring. Our grandfather says the plan did not work. There was an intervention, and it was exposed. Does not mention that there is someone who can escape through the earth. The Slayer asks what she plans to do. Asks if it is the one in the large mound, and suggests using his story so they kill him. The Slayer asks if not, it is better not to get involved with the people of the Great Mound. Our grandfather says it is the best way, then puts the ring on his hand. Asks him to call a message to the people of the Great Mound and offer the ring to avenge their cruelty. She says there is nothing they can do, then agrees to do what he asked. Takes a weapon and uses his ability on the creature, ordering him to stand up. The brutal goblin rises, saying that his grandfather, servant is brighter than his master, and that he needs to fulfill the king's order. Elsewhere, a group of goblins eat at the terminal. The boy has accumulated 300 health points. Can invoke a level 6, completely obedient. Consider using it for protection, but decides that a level 6 is so strong, like a brutal goblin, and the sacred sword could defeat 3 of them. Thinks it can be better. Choose a skill and grow stronger. Twisted Fusion can take sides from opponents and them to gain statistics, but cannot obtain innate abilities. Ruin Attack can disable sacred abilities and weaken the opponent, while causing high damage. Distortion combined with Yum's ability becomes stronger, like dragon wings, or even merge with fish eyes and devour their ability to petrification. Ruina seems the only way to break the sacred system, but there is no coal to merge now. Ruin War. The guest obtained the effect of life expectancy and 3000 return. Lin is happy and surprised, but goblins do not understand. This solves the problem with goblins' genes. Even her maids ask the boss what's going on. The young woman asks if she wants to do something. The man says no and tells the girl not to suggest it. For a while, that human stole 2 weapons and causes problems, says a Kalo. The warrior apologizes to his family for hurting them. When the chief approaches the prisoner, the other kneels down and calls him by his name. Calls him again and again. Asks if his father and the others are still alive. His father and sister were defeated by Mr. Linten says laughing. The crazed man says he should never have provoked it. says he hopes she is still alive and can be rescued. Then runs and hits his head against the wall. Linten says he was tortured to death and wonders why he didn't let go. Says his hatred has vanished and hopes the knife will relieve his pain. Spends time in the forest of the great darkness that elf calls the new lord, saying that he is the leader of the Beast King's tribe, asking if there is a gigantic hole. Comes out of the cave scaring the creature. A huge monster comes out of the cave, asking why he calls it. Explains that he only went to recover from humans what belongs to you. The huge monster is the ghost bull. New man-eater. Says that the object was made by the same ghosts of his species, the Chake, and giving it to them is like giving it back to their original owners. The hero takes the ring, examines him and asks what he wants. The elf asks for help standing up in the face of the huge. Explains that he has a deal with the church and who cannot enter human territory. But he says it will help him become a lord. Tells him to take revenge on the human race. And says he believes the immortals will support him. Adds that he has not eaten for a long time of human flesh. Spends time in the goblin's lair. Our engineer checks the terminal. Look for something, see its level 70 info. Thinks that even though he trained and improved his skills, the sacred sword has more than 4,000 power, and it looks like he will need Kamen to deal with her. But he thinks it is almost there, and together they manage to create an army of heroes. Thinks it can stop. Hides the jacket. Lolana Yidai's kill Goblin. Brutal arrived with his men in the cave. And wait, while our grandfather heads there. The woman asks him to wait a moment, hugs him and asks him if he wants to go to Gaiman with them, but says it is not necessary, just going to fight. So if something happens and you need to run away, anyone else would get in their way. She ordered the goblin to obey. So I'd better not, dear. Lin says that's all, and it is unclear who will punish whom. The woman sees him leave excited. Our grandfather approaches the big goblin and asks him about his friend. The creatures, massive, just look at him like he's crazy. Says that the most embarrassing thing is this, dominant Phoenix-class goblin, and things don't look good. Then the creature tells the lord, Phoenix-class goblin, and things don't look good. Then the creature tells the lord, do not worry, the strength of the goblin is equal to his own, orders you to keep quiet, and show the way. Our reflection only observes. Elsewhere, heroes prepare for battle. Warn them about a woman with a very powerful sword. The boy mocks, likes difficult food, and earthquake strikes. The guards ask what that was. Until you tell them to look. A herd of bulls, ghosts charge and guards scream for help. Our grandfather wonders if they are so scary, but decides that smart goblins are worse. Lin thinks the city will be his soon. The bulls seem to enjoy the attack, excited about the fresh meat, but when you are about to eat, a powerful blow knocks him down. The man who was to be eaten moves away and sees a group of adventurers and the sacred sword. The older man asks why there are so many ghost bulls. Another question if he is not the guy with the big skirt. Annoyed, says he should have been attended to immediately. The sacred sword says it was his mistake. Determined, says he will correct that mistake and charge towards the creature. On the way he knocks down some ghost bulls. When distracted, the hero attacks, but from the cloud of dust, the woman appears to contain the attack. The bull does not believe it. Our Sanchez watches from above and sees that they are tied. While she is busy, he had better act. Then something catches your attention. That man in D of the brutal goblin. The guy starts to sink on the ground, saying he is going to kill that beast. Our grandfather thinks that's what he was waiting for. Uses a power and launches a shower of projectiles. No hey chance, men false. The beast approaches to feed on him, and his colleague notices the marshalling situation, tries to save him, and shoots arrows into the hole. But a wild tornado blocks them. Confused question what was that, and our reflection appears, saying that fortunately has sharp abilities. Orders the brutal goblin to leave the guy and go help the ghosts. And the believer obeys, approaches the excited man, licking his lips and uses his ability to devour. The elf is horrified by what she sees nearby. The old man defeats another ghost bull, calling the beasts, jumps into our with a powerful martial technique, but our reflection does not move at the last second. Dodges the old man explodes with rage. Our grandfather uses skill, without giving it a chance to react. The elf screams in despair. Sees him feed on his peers. The old warrior falls. The woman does not believe what happened. Our reaches level 75. And its power increases. The elf prepares and shoots. Hits it squarely. Another shot comes as soon as it is dodged. The elf does not give up. Dodges again. Thanks to the wall. Orders the tower to be demolished. Iron destroys it with force. The elf flees and prepares to counterattack. Shoots his crossbow at the woman. The elf shrinks on the attack but dodges in time. Jumping backwards, our grandfather sees that he dodged it and decides to wait for its cooling to be finished before trying again. throws himself into a run as if he were running away. She prepares another shot and warns him not to think that can hide. Continues to dodge the best he can until you notice that something is wrong. The elf can no longer stand its strength, vanishes and forces to continue. But this brutal falls to the ground. Our boy yells at her to move because she is his. The goblin approaches the elf and says she has a strong spirit and it would be a shame to eat it. Then raises her in his arms and takes her away for a long time. After, the elf wakes up in another place and panics. The first thing he sees is our grandfather. Realizes that she is completely tied up. Desperately asks him what he did to her. He tells her that he will soon know. Elsewhere, the sacred sword fights against ghost bulls. Wins again by murmuring that this guide was difficult, when a loud noise distracts her attention. Sees Emma about to kill herself and runs to stop her. The girl collapses as the woman approaches, arrives on time and asks him not to die. The elf says the others are gone. Tells Alice that she doesn't want to give birth to a goblin. Calls for revenge. The bulls make fun of whoever eats it will be the new boss. The woman wields her sword, rises up with burning eyes and looks at them with fury, says it will kill them. Then the sword is stuck, says it will kill them. Guards and nurses freeze a beat. Then he throws himself into the sky overflowing with energy. The count asks what he does, orders the soldiers to leave or die. Everyone flees in panic, screaming that they have never seen anything like this, which is scarier than toys. In another part of the city, something like that and she's scarier than the Greeks. Holy energy tells you that this is bad. The herd of ghost bulls is in doubt. Then the energy runs away. It is magic. The holy sword is his ability and strikes with the Holy Inquisition. The holy sword's its ability and strikes with the Inquisition. Creatures are annihilated. A massive crack opens in the city, then descends and returns to its normal form. Its power is 5,000. In El Terminal, the city is razed to the ground. Our grandfather realizes that he was lucky. Thought it was a Chinese sword. Why she fights like a magician. Is stunned by calling her the invincible holy sword that will protect the kingdom. Her power, the soldiers cheer her on and pay tribute to her. But then it hurts from the wound that was inflicted. The terminal shows its combat power down to 2,500. Our chest feels uncomfortable. Has not ended. The real boy is not dead. She is looking for a potion. A powerful blow interrupts it. All wobble. Our corpse is revealed to be standing in a tower. Asks him to be cured and leave the rest to them. Despicable. A moment later, is already defeated. Our rejection corrects it. Is not that lying? Is the previous question. If he realizes that he is a goblin, soldiers advance, ordering to kill him and avenge the dude. Our universe prepares and advances, knocking them down easily. A soldier shouts that they should not resist. Should buy time. Shouts that they should dedicate it in their hearts. The next moment, something goes through. Our mirror is in front of him. Arm crossed. The soldier looks. I just believe. Goblin leader says he is free. But it will take his heart. The next moment, that boy is defeated. A great emphasis on his armor. The sacred sword sees it and charges it. Our hero dodges and counterattacks. But she is faster. Sends it flying. Despite its reduced power. Is difficult to deal with. Activates a power that strikes the soldiers and the woman. She is surprised. Counterattacks with energy. Our failure easily dodges. If this continues, they both lose, and in the end he is a sacred guy. Can delete it. Strikes again. Says it will be solved once and for all today. Lin asks if he likes the feeling of sadness. She jumps up and tells him to shut his mouth. Hits hard, then realizes that the goblin is no longer there and looks for it. Orders everyone to gather and kill him. Grabs a soldier and throws him towards the girl. While she is distracted by the flying body, Goblin leader approaches and drops the others. At least in speed it is better, and can use bodies to dodge. The woman chases him, calling him dirty. Wants to wear down his defense to use magic. Ruined. An hour of fighting will remain soldiers on the ground. They ask the sacred sword to kill them, because they cannot endure the torment. Our analyst suggests that you stop for today, and a soldier murmurs that he will lose anyway. Women only get angrier, telling him not to run and attacking again. And uses another body as a shield. Is working. Will soon go crazy. Continues to attack non-stop, and our shield uses soldiers as shield. They diss the result and tells him that his way of killing is better than the one on the shoulders. Woman is horrified. Son finally gets it. Drops his sword. Is destroyed. Has killed those he was supposed to protect. Our grandfather thinks this is the time. Prepares its attack of ruin and assaults, a direct blow to the chest. She falls to her knee as it begins to rain, and its power is scattered. Asks his god it's not his fault. That will protect everyone. asks if the gods have abandoned her, and she collapses. Our hero knows that once contaminated by the ruin, loses its sacred power. Thinks they could join him to put an end to seize. The storm is approaching, and our hearts prepares for the evolution of its species. The leading goblin gets uncomfortable to see the soldiers of the church arrive. Our chest rises fast in front of the shoulders. The leader of the killers looks at the woman on the floor and thinks he had an accident. Sees our boy as a little goblin, but he knows that his innocent reflection can hide great power. Orders his soldiers to obey in the name of God and bring peace to the world. And this worries our boy. Holy toys charge against evil. Attack without pause as it stops them with its magic barrier. Our failure is fast, even with heavy armor. In the terminal sees that its strength is 3,000. The struggle continues. He dodges what he can, thinking they are really powerful, have no intention of backing down, so prepare a new attack of ruin. Hits one of them, and the others freeze in shock. The holy angel screams on the ground. While its sacred power is drained, the others scream, and our grandfather takes the opportunity to run. Asians now think it's a demon. Goblin Lin is in a hurry that the soldiers of the church already have 3,000 powers, and says it's time to change plans. Yes, to withdraw. The leader of Asians say they need to retreat and that the child needs to be purified and guided by a priest or will fall into disgrace. The soldier asks if the poison is not going to deal with the plague of goblins, but he says it is too late. Explains that, as the Colombian said, God has already chosen a new servant and there is no need to look for it anymore. Sometime later, our hero manages to escape. Note that most of the bodies were burned, but the body of the ghost bull is still there and decides to take advantage of it. Back in his lair, girls ask how he did and they notice that he has become stronger. Lin asks if they don't know, and says that the secret sword is his. The Slayer asks if he prefers to defeat and dominate her, and he confirms that yes, exactly. Complains that the church interrupted him. The woman throws herself on him, saying he knows it's perfect and that it is interested in. In him he asks her to forgive him, because he has something serious about him. The Say explains that today's victory gave them time to grow, but they need a new habitat, so as not to suffer human attacks or revenge. We'll say it is a place where the church will not dare to go. His name is Grandma. Later the tribe prepares for the journey, and our grandfather knows the process, thinks that it can create a large population of goblins. And since the church has a deal with the Great Wisdom, we'll have no problems. Now needs more women. Tells them that the objective is to take prisoners. Whoever resists can be treated as they wish. A few days later, obtained 230 women from 10 villages, but they needed more. Decides to go to other villages to get more people, and arrives in a small town. Heads there, and orders everyone to prepare and move forward. Someone says they are just looting goblins. Another says he killed enough goblins to make a mountain. A soldier asks if people are afraid of the goblins and is ordered to guard the door. They say they are dangerous, but one man says they are only big. Says it could handle some kind of luggage. Is a 50-level adventurer. Tells them to be prepared because they are coming. A soldier announces that the goblins are coming. People prepare. Suggests seeing who kills the most goblins, with a punishment for those who kill less. The man says he can handle it alone, and tells others to rest. Then something makes everyone tremble with fear. The man looks up and sees a large dragon flying. Rides his dragon, while everyone trembles, wondering why there are dragons with goblins. Soldiers run in terror, saying that the sentries lie, and that they are heroes. Our grandfather thinks it is interesting that so many people will prepare for this and tells them to attack. Moments later, the struggle spreads throughout the city. One of the men calls the adventurer who said he could handle the goblins, but the man hides and asks if they are really goblins. Creature finds it under the table and by the locks takes care of them, leaving him defeated while saying it would be fun. A group of Colombians meets. A big bird asks if it is his first time entering the great darkness and says that the smell of humans will attract strangers from miles away. Lin says they smell, so much so that not even goblins cover the smell, and it is no surprise that they fear the dark. For that reason, tells him to remember to thank his lord this time, and says it's what he promised her. The creature asks why he has so many humans there. Astonished question if they are all reproductive tools for the goblins, and asks if not told him on the contract between the great parish and the church. Our grandfather tells you not to worry because captured before a raffle. The bird says it's great, and if you have any questions, go be at it, and he will make them able to develop in peace. Linnea is grateful for his concern and says that if he wants to return, will be welcome. The creature says that then it will not be normal and will warn those responsible. Our seems unable to work in peace now. So ask Goblet if he counted how many there are. Says there are 3,000, but there could be more if they occur again. Among the proven mutant and dominant species, none survive. Our grandfather comments that it looks like that can produce more of these species. So leave the cabin. Now need to capture killers. Animals to increase the number of weak goblins. So activate the system. The system displays a scenario. Picture some food containers to evolve the species, but is surprised to be ambushed by humans. Does not understand how they dare to enter the great darkness. Then the simulation ends badly, is forced to flee with few members defeated. So you need a way to deal with this. Goes to his subordinates and asks if they know where human lords live. The creature says it is in the high forest area, and our failure decides that this is your chance to solve the problem once and for all. 1 month later, talks to his friend, bird for humans to get there. Explains that the Virgin has a contract with the church, but our failure says he saw an army approaching and that with what happened before. The creature says he understands, but no one will let humans pass through the great darkness. Then flies off saying that he will meet with him later, and that it will make a report. Land appreciates it. One of the Magnificent says they are there to defeat the goblins. Are determined to enter the great darkness, and the soldiers support it. A dragon flies over them. The man asks if it is a goblin riding it. Thinks it matches intelligence exactly. Ask if the guide is the goblin boss. Our grandfather calls them, asking if they forgot the contract between church and homeland. The man responds that it's just a rat that ran away from the farm, and do not need to worry. Points behind him and asks if they see that army. Says he is there to avenge Alice. Our boy reads the situation, and begins to annoy him, mentioning the sacred sword. The man explodes, screaming for him to shut up, says he will attack and turn everyone to dust. Our grandfather tells you to shut up, then says it will attack. Our boy didn't expect to be furious so quickly. One of this says to wait. Turo lying, mentions this, and points to a man, asking if it is that. 10 minutes ago, this guard at the camp. Stunned by the number of humans and strangers, enslaved, but back again a group of goblins caught them. The leader orders all troops to listen, and go out to kill every goblin. Soldiers prepare to attack. The young man begins to scream, asking if they are afraid, saying that's what happens when he gets angry. A lion. Then another creature appears asking if it is true, and the great bird appears overflowing with power. The young man shouts that he is the devouring and tells everyone to be careful. It says it has been a long time since he saw the church and asks if they forgot the contract offer. An angel says it is the Pope's order, and that it is not qualified to negotiate. It says he is not qualified to pay for a long time and who will crush it himself. The governor says he is there to eliminate the goblins and doesn't care what happens next, but if the dares to stop it, it will die. Spurs his horse and orders the soldiers to advance. The creature rises in the sky, saying that they treat the great darkness as a place to which they can come and go whenever they want. The boy asks if grandma decided to protect the goblins. The says he can believe that. The boy is silent, tells his majesty to stand down with the troops, but his majesty does not believe him and wants to kill that man. The boy says it is not fleeing, is to prepare for a major battle. From above our grandfather watches the army, says that the gentleman has made a big mess just because of him. Man says it's not because of him, is to show the church that they are not afraid. The man says many are excited about this. Tells him to grow his tribe quickly, and if he becomes king of the goblins, can enter the real cell. Lin is encouraged to hear that, says the resources there are very good. In the church, people protest the sacred sword and demands the death of the goblin. I don't understand how this woman can be sacred. Is disgusting. The man at the helm is fed up with the goblin's problem, and now this. Someone murmurs that on one side there is her and on the other side there is. People walk to a door. Calls Alice and opens it, then stops furious at what he sees inside. The woman is caring for a small goblin. Says he never imagined he would end up like this because of it. Due to the goblin's problem, orders you to walk away or will hurt you. Attack the child. The woman intervenes and catches the sword with her hand. Asks what you think you are doing. Responds that it is in the interest of the people. Says he must get her back on the right track. She pulls out a gun. Faces him. Is surprised. Asks if he is really going to do this to him. A great wave of sacred energy hits it. Not even his majesty saw it coming. The cardinal appears. Says he used high-level sacred skills. Conjures up sacred bars and traps it. His majesty tells him that he can handle it. She screams in despair. Begins to pour sacred power into the child. The mother watches helplessly. Screams not behind the bars. Outside people celebrate. They ask where the sacred sword is. The child is thrown at the feet of men. Someone says we did what we asked for. Warns that whoever speaks ill of the sacred sword will face consequences. The teacher shuts up in fear. The next day, someone is looking for Her Majesty and reports that Alice has disappeared. Man despairs. A mutant goblin is glad he can use magic. The other goblins get excited. Talk about eating to strengthen themselves. Our grandfather says it can't be like this. Need to take the initiative. But they are afraid to leave. Lion asks if they think he is safe. are so desperate that they agree to go out. Another boy says he needs free that power to help. Our grandfather thinks he was manipulated, still want to eat for free. Something catches your attention. Suunigo Lord arrives and says he wants to recommend a lord. Our lord is happy to meet other lords. Is already excited to meet some people, more to blame. After, Anne says he hopes he won't care. The person behind him, the Lord Golden Lizard. Our universe checks his power, almost 4088 level, thinks it's no big deal. Asks if the creature is interested in humans. The lizard says humans are toys, suggests dividing them, but man questions it. It said he would accept one when he was accepted by him. The lizard says that everything there is theirs, asks what a goblin would be worth. Very little. Man says he has the last word. In that area, the creature tells you to stop playing. Says man has never eaten humans, and that it has been fair. Mount eats R, and tells him to stop. Saying I doubt it can eat all that. The lizard shrinks and asks if he is talking to her, calling it lower. Man stands before our chest and says it is the last time he will say so. Tell him go away or he won't come back in one piece, says the creature. For him can offer to kill the goblin, and then have humans. Man attacked. First the angry creature says it's already done, but one day the man will not be, and will return to destroy all. Man's could condemn and punish him, or could let him become the lord of the land of the Lizardman. That man is dead. Could condemn him or leave him as a lord. Thinks you could invoke mythological creatures such as that, but I couldn't kill monsters like now. Says not near him. Their subordinates are fed, and realizes that it is evolving. Feels bigger, stronger, proves its power in the trees, and is thrilled to see how much he has grown up nearby. A small creature goes to a lake to feed. One hand suddenly comes out, grabs it. I take it to the bottom. Someone says he looked young, but he is already 1 meter tall. They say it tastes good and smells good, almost like human flesh, and so it seems. Have an idea to get more food like that. In the village of creatures, a lizard complains that the woman's son is still loitering, is going to be caught. She rules it out, saying that your husband is a gentleman and you will handle it. A voice asks if you are looking for this. The woman turns to the under. A skeleton falls at his feet, freezes in horror. Shouts demanding to know who he is, shouting that this is the territory of a lord. The goblin asks what it is, then tells her that I understand him, because she is very pretty. An armed lizard arrives, asking if he dares to dishonor the lady. The creature launches itself to attack, but one of the mutant goblins knocks him down easily. The goblins clearly gain the upper hand. Woman asks for help, while he says he will take her to the boss. The tribe realizes that the goblins invade and the lord is not. Yet they take up arms, and prepare to defend themselves. Creatures charge furiously. The goblin responds with the devastating blow. The other mutant goblin kills the rest of the lizard men. In the end they begin to feed on the creatures. One tries to look it up, but respond with another powerful attack, ordering to withdraw. Are already full, and the boss said not to annihilate them all, to give them time to recover. Now they take a prisoner. One of the survivors shouts for his lord, saying where I could be. Back. Lizard man asks if this is his tribe. Another lizard explodes towards him screaming to hurry up and save his wife and daughter since the goblins took them away. Can't believe it. Just came from the goblin tribe and doesn't think they can slaughter them so quickly. The gentleman smells the air and captures a mixed odor. His wife and goblins run away, cursing those miserable goblins, swearing to crush everyone in the tribe. Someone screams for the boss to come because they brought good things. Our mirror moves and notices its evolution, is impressed. Continues to evaluate them, trying to find out how it happened, theorizing. Thinks he can equip them with better armament to make them stronger. Someone screams, saying get the damn goblins to release him. A woman claims to be the lord's wife, demanding how they dare to capture her, threatens to tell the lord to kill them all. Grabs her by the head, and tells her to behave, excited to have brought this to his boss. One young and one older according to your taste. Our grandfather wonders where he was taken from, with all this talk of a lord. Ask if they are not lizard men, of the cursed temple. The woman says yes. Her husband is the lord. Ask if he is now afraid, but says it is too late. Lena asks if it was the lord of the lizardmen who threatened him and said he would kill all her tribe. The woman turns pale by repeating the threat. Suddenly pulls out his gun and hits one of them, knocking her down to the ground. The leader of the goblins says that these two are his. Everyone enlightens themselves by thanking and praising their boss. Creatures run fighting over who goes first. Lin asks what they did with the rest of the tribe. His subordinate says he devoured the majority, but left some alive to reproduce. Lin looks a little surprised. Goblins are tense, thinking they did something wrong, but says it was splendid, laughing at congratulating them and call them great entertainers. The creature says his boss flatters him, and who only does his duty. Lin thinks he would like to see that lizard man, after seeing his tribe in the tribe. The lizard is furious, cursing the goblins, and demanding his wife. And your son then sees something he doesn't like. A lot of goblins feeding off their people. Immediately knows that she is his wife and daughter. Our grandfather approaches and says he is a little late. The creature says he will not leave any of his tribe standing today, and this debt will be paid, then spat on Lin, who responds with a clean blow. Before he can recover, is already running and hitting his chest. The boy realizes it too late. Jumps back and covers the wound with his hand. Demands to know what the hell that was. Says he'd for a moment. Our boy says that if the lizard wants to die, we'll help you and remind you that this is painful. Cannot summon monsters here. The furious lizard says he does not need other monsters to kill them all. Rests on its power. The wound begins to close. Comes back stronger, more terrifying, and finally asks what the goblin can do against him. The others goblin get excited and warn their boss. That does not seem easy to deal with. Our hero begins to plan how to defeat him. Then at the next moment, a gun goes through the chest of the murderer. Our mirror does not understand what it is seeing. The creature is cut from head to toe. Behind her is the worn-out sacred sword. Empty Look says he found it. Panicking goblins is in their tribe, and they are sure he will kill them, but he doesn't seem to be in shape for that. Collapses. Lin is in shock. Exhausted with a bad sword, still killed the lizard in a second. Thinks he's lucky he's unconscious. His subordinates want to take the opportunity to kill her, of course on behalf of his boss. The other two just stay there, as if they were seeing something important. Our boy says she'd. And the other is altered, asking who said he was going to kill her. Says she is worth more alive than dead, seeing her already unconscious. Night falls on the tribe. The female goblin appears to examine the female, is thrilled by saying that it is soft and elastic. The sacred sword reacts. Our mirror says that they have not been seen for a long time. Does not look scared. Begins to scream that watches goblins who finally found him, which is wonderful. The leader of the tribe is, and tells him not to do anything. Rash is too weak to beat them. Strives to get up anyway. Shouting goblin over and over again. Our boy does not understand what is wrong with him. He yells at his subordinates to do something. We're not raised to watch, and orders them to arrest her. The big guy approaches and grabs the rope that holds it, but the next second is released. In the oven eye is in front of our mirror, putting him on guard. His servants get upset saying they are lost, and the boss is going to die because of him. Woman yells. That surprises him. Forgive me for not finishing your punishment. Says it was the villagers' fault, and asks for another opportunity. The villagers are to blame and ask for another chance. Lin realizes that he believes that the child is a punishment from God, and has driven her crazy. But in reality, just try to avoid the fact that he killed someone. Our grandfather says that God is furious because he killed some of his own tribe, but there are conditions, and she wants to have her child. Desperate woman says she will accept anything. He says he should listen to it at least for, tells you to accept the period of espionage and understand that this is your punishment. Also believes it would be a great fighting power. She says it is God's punishment. Will carry it out correctly. That satisfies him and tells everyone else to leave. The woman begins to prepare and asks him to help her. The leader of the goblins says that as she asks for it, will not be contested. She seems to enjoy it very much. The vampire tells the hunter to stop bothering. That woman is the saint of the sword, the strongest of all time, so you don't think so. But then it freezes when he sees the woman asleep and asks how he could have learned. The hunter says he would like to know what kind of problem would cause if the information reached the empire. Someone asks Lin what he plans to do with the woman. He says to keep an eye on her so that she does not escape, then take her for a change and bath. The woman says she will now and leaves. Lin asks how many humans die from the disease and tells them to prepare the bodies today because it has a use for them. The death of the lizard man could bring about the Lord of Darkness, so you need to see the man again. Goes to his tribe, and they are surprised by what happened. His friend says he doesn't need to explain if it takes the place of the lizard man, place where he can explain things to grandma. The goblin says he is not interested. Subordinates can take over instead. Man says it is not impossible, but it is risky if it sends. It is not impossible, but it is risky if you send subordinates. Lin asks why. Now that the lizard man is dead. The man explains that a demon competes for the position. Lin is encouraged to hear that. The creature is a monster that controls dreams, and through them, people. Hawkman adds. Is not strong in combat, so it shouldn't beat the gentleman like that. Whatever it may be that he obey her, so tell the Lord to take him with him as soon as possible. Lin wants to work with him. Wants to work with the devil, so ask the Lord to take you with him as soon as possible. A creature appears and asks who needs some good dreams. See Hawkman and ask what he's doing with that elf. Lin says he wants to negotiate people. The creature asks how a goblin dares to make such a request. The Hawkman says he defeated the lizard. The devil laughs, but then asks whose beautiful dreams he wants to manipulate. Lin says he is a human. Your friend asks if he really planned to do so, sir, and warns him about the other lord who could not beat. Lin tells him to wait, because he has just thought of another plan. The lord explains that this demon has no body. Bister explains that this demon has no physical body. Lin reminds us that her body cannot be devoured. Lin says he can take part in enemies, and merge it into itself, and that normal goblins cannot do it. Tells the devil to accompany them to discuss details and who needs to understand the principles of his or her power. The devil explains that as long as someone looks into his eyes, will be under your control. No one gets out of control if he looks into his eyes, unless you realize. Lin gets excited and says he wants to see if dreams are more powerful than the Li. The Hulkman warns. The Hulkman warns him not to look him in the eye. The creature uses his power on Lin and his. The devil decides he overestimated him. Lin wakes up somewhere else, near a volcano. The demon is irritated, laughs and says he can't escape, but will stay in the dream and die. The demon laughs and says he can't escape and will stay in the dream. Lin falls into the lava in the dream and dies, then asks if he still wants to kill him, launches a sudden attack on it. The creature cannot believe it and demands to know how he did it. Tells him that he has set a trap and that in these dreams one person only dies if he thinks he is going to die. Asks him if that is his ability. Adds that it is a trick but it won't work and charges against the demon lord. Strikes a strong blow. The creature hurls and wonders how it is possible. Then to Lin's surprise, curses him and swears not to forgive him as the struggle continues. Lin raises his gun and shoots again. This time the creature collapses, wastes no time, eats a piece of it, and gets his ability to dream. The boy looks at him in terror as her body changes. A moment later, Lin acquires power. Listen to his stunned hawk friends. Says Lin scared him. Ask how he did. But the goblin just says they are ready to go. Now that the devil has been defeated, Lin says he has the perfect goblin for the pose. Your friend tells you not to worry, who will speak for him. Later in the tribe of goblins, the sacred sword sleeps in peace. Our paradise glides in its calm dreams, takes her to a place where people demand the death of a goblin, and their punishment. The whole city humiliates her and asks for her punishments. Realizes that it is the dream in which he was humiliated, and it's exactly what I wanted. An intense light appears, and an angelic entity descends. Everyone begins to worship, convinced that he is God, excited to see it. Woman accused of being a demon who desecrated the sacred. Point to her demanding that she be punished and detained. A great mirror opens up behind. Throws herself to the ground and asks God to save her, forgiving her the angelic entity. Extends his hand and bathes people in sacred energy. Asks if he understands the sin he committed. She says she knows she killed people. That was to protect. God says it is a lesser sin. If you give birth to a goblin and raise it, will be forgiven. Ask if he committed other sins. He says he protected a group of demons. Calls them selfish, greedy and lists its ugly features. And for that sin he says, will never be forgiven. Desperately insists that he was protecting them. Look back, and those creatures turn into demons. God says that without them, his companions would not have died. The devil spits out vile things, pushing her into despair. Falling for his death, she breaks, screams that they shut up and charges. Hits them again and again without giving them a chance. Then collapses and tells God he killed them. The entity asks if it sees it clearly now. They wanted protection, but never thought of protecting it. And when he collapsed in front of the church, were the first to attack. Freezes in shock and says she understands. Touch each other's hands, tells him that from now on is responsible for eliminating these demons. She asks how to regain the power of God. He says that only when there is not a demon left. Adds that she sent a messenger to help her, and tells him I don't understand. The sacred sword rests. Our heroine is surprised. I didn't expect to be so tired. Now they will not call it that, says the man, then tells him that eat, and prepare to fulfill God's mission. She asks how she knows. Still does not think he is in front of someone important. He says that God's will should not be revealed. Is stunned. Wondering if the one of his dreams could be that goblin. She asks what they will do next. He only speaks when the time comes. Even at level 60 and less than 100,000 of power, strives to improve. Says he has only learned magic for 1 year and does not have much experience. Our grandfather tells him that his talent is impressive, should not be wasted. The leader of the goblins says it's a good city to plunder and more encourages his subjects. Then tells them to get ready to leave, while his soldiers celebrate. You know there is a magician there with many tons of magic, and asks what keeps it, and grab a bunch of books for her to study. The woman thanks her lord again and again, until someone arrives asking if they go out into battle. She wears armor and our heroine came prepared. Alice says it's a mission for her. God, of course it was prepared. Those demons caused 10 years of pain, and now it's time to pay. Some time later they arrive in the city, and some event is happening. One of the creatures asks why people get together. Our grandfather says it is a celebration. Tells him to return to camp while he investigates. Below the ceremony continues. His granddaughter, April, becomes the new lady of the city. The youngest in history. All celebrate. She is grateful and promises to be better than her smile. promises not to let them down, and asks for information about the holy sword to punish her. Asks whoever knows anything about the holy sword, say it to punish her. People support it. Convinced that it is incredible, his smile proudly observes her. Our hero watches from his dragon. I didn't expect them to plan to capture the holy sword. Still gets excited. Soon they will have it. Nearby Goblin's army prepares. The elf asks how it's all going. Says the city has 6,000 soldiers in paradise. It is the perfect time to attack. Orders Berserker Goblin to break down the door. Soldiers advance and are alarmed. The darkness begins. Our chest gives orders. The city burns. The new lady realizes what is happening. Explosions shake the streets. People shout warnings that a dragon is coming. She tries to take control, but no one listens to it. Up the magician observes everything and leads his army to confront the goblins. The young woman is surprised to see that they are goblins. Then relaxes. Low-level users. You will finish this quickly and have a drink afterwards. She orders to advance, and for his birthday he will hand out food and drink. But things are not going well nearby. Goblins gain advantage in every way. Our hero and the magician look at each other. The old man realizes. Our grandfather says he didn't expect his fame to go so far. The magician says it's no surprise that it's a problem, but ask if you have thought about the consequences. The elderly active, a magic glass, and a huge rock flies into our universe, catches him off guard. Kicks his dragon and dodges, while the man concentrates. Our grandfather says that in this case, we'll give him a gift, and heads towards the young magician. Everyone panics and runs. The meteorite keeps falling as people scream. The lady knows that this is bad, but our boy sticks to his plan. The dragon exhales fire, was hide where the meteorite is about to impact, and banishes the meteorite. She freezes, no longer sees the dragon. The magician looks at her in a shock, says it is impossible for the creature to remain alive. Our grandfather says that his granddaughter is very capable, otherwise the corpse would be in ashes. A wounded soldier approaches, says he can't take it anymore, and the magician cures him. Suddenly a flame approaches, but the old man reacts quickly and blocks it. Tell the goblin to stop playing and fight well. Asks if he is trying to make him feel guilty. Goblins have no morale. The old man's expression becomes tense. Underestimated it, and may lose. Ordna to all go back to the Atlantic, and defend from there. Run inward in a frenzy. The door closes behind them. Soldiers murmur that they are an elite force. Someone mentions the sacred sword and wishes to that was here, but the lady says she won't let anything happen to them. Says it is a powerful fortress and no one will enter. Out of the goblins begin to back down and its leader orders a retreat for now. The lady asks that they have managed the goblins and will not return, and the old man adds that the enemy is we. The young woman asks if he is the one who defeated the sacred sword. If she defeats him, we'll be stronger than him, won't it? The magician urges her to do so. Lin did not plan to eliminate them all, but since they were reckless, he tells him not to blame him. The woman laughs, calls him Diamond, and asks if he is still dreaming of turning around to the situation. She points to subordinates, tells the strongest to follow him, and orders others to wait. A magician is alarmed that the enemy is approaching, but the woman says there is a barrier. Impregnable, a goblin is placed in front of her and tells her boss to let him. He prepares to attack and approaches the barrier, and the old wizard curses in a low voice, thinking that the protection will not hold. Then the metal barrier begins to crack inside. Terrified people ask that the sacred sword be there and protect them. Our grandfather says they do not want to leave so they will be forced to do so. The fight drags on, and the goblins take the lead. Soldiers want to go out to save people, but the magician stops them. Is their ultimate strength and they can't take any chances. Can't believe that the barrier he spent years creating breaks so easily with goblins. People shout that their families are outside. Say that are going to protect them and start gathering more people. Are headed to the door, while the soldiers try to hold them back. The lady requires know what they are doing and promises to protect them. The glow behind her makes her spin. Sees some of his subordinates, his colleagues. The old man asks why elves mingle. The old man asks why the elves are mixed with goblins and how these attacks are so accurate. Used to enslave elves, and now it's time to settle accounts. The magician casts a spell. El Mago casts a protective spell and tells his granddaughter to retire because he will not last. A soldier informs that the rear exit is blocked by goblins. The old man wonders how. The secret is just a bunch of steroids.